good, and I shit my pants because I was so scared.
Look, as long as there's not a giant drill kit, I'm happy.
How do you make Vega an ugly guy? How do you take literally Liu Kang from the Mortal Kombat movies and make him the most useless character? The Legend of Zelda.
I'm done.
I feel bad for Tony. I'm also seeing here, in the background going, it should have been me! But welcome. I am joined today by Miss Stormwind, Kayla, my good hacker buddy Provo. Don't ask why I went that way. I just
You know what? Not going to ask.
The pecker buddy. And of course, myself, Kitsuraki. Welcome, you guys. This is I've been wanting to get this up off the ground. We had episode 1 where I was doing some spicy takes and I was solo, so I'm like, I don't have anyone to bounce jokes off of, so hopefully they hit. And now you guys are here, so now jokes can bounce off and they'll hit, or they won't, or we'll just make fun of each other. It's fine.
You get more of that live feedback, do you?
Yeah, it's always good. Of course, I had to start everything by cracking open beer because I've spent 10 hours today working and dealing with scammer calls at work.
I get that.
Legitimate
scammer calls, but brain melt.
Yeah, legitimate scammers calling our stores, going, "Hey, we need you guys to reset your credit card terminals," and them going, "Yeah, you're not IT." Click, and then calling us, going, "Hey, we got a scammer." Cool. What's the number?
Send help. He's using us.
But yeah, welcome to the second episode. This is going to be, again, it's a little unorganized, but it's fine. That's how these are going to go for a little bit until find our footing, find our groove, and everything goes well. Maybe,
As long as we don't throw off anyone's groove.
Yes, or a little quiet. See, and this is why we have live feed.
Hey, King.
Hello, King. Oh, I think I know why, because I always turn everyone down when we're doing movie nights, or I'm doing stuff in the background, and so everyone's not at 100 or more percent. They're at 90 or less. Movie nights, everyone's at 75 because we all get loud. I'm like, I'll just turn everyone to 75 so that way I can hear the movie and listen to everyone, and we can crack jokes.
As long as it's at Alien Resurrection's expense,
I'm
happy.
happy. Oh my god! You were Probo's Discord. We were having some fun. We decided I started off by going, I'm gonna be watching Aliens this Saturday, and Probo's like, I want to watch it too. We should do that. I'm like, okay. And then he's like, we should do a movie night. And we're like, okay. So we watched Alien and Aliens. Then the next week we watched Godzilla -1, which is an amazing movie. Can't wait for
My
the
new
sequel.
favorite one.
Yep. And then
watched Godzilla.
Of course. And then last week we finished up the Ripley saga of Aliens with Alien 3 and Resurrection, and I don't think we took any moment of either Alien 3 or Alien Resurrection serious. Granted, I don't think Resurrection could ever really be taken seriously.
The camp was so over the top.
It was. Oh wow, I didn't realize chat was that huge. We can make chat a little bit smaller and put it right about there. Okay. Not that far
Wouldn't
off,
be
but
a bad plan.
that Legas was 5 inches long.
Oh god.
No, I shrink. But yeah, so we had some fun, but yeah, I have to turn everyone down because otherwise I'm I can't hear the movie, and then everyone's talking, I can't hear everyone, so I'll just turn everyone down. I can hear the movie, but I can still hear everyone over the movie, and it's fun. It's fine. We can make jokes and have fun. Look, gasp. Of course, if anyone ever wonders, no, I do not stream it's rare that I stream and I'm not drinking. I might have a drinking problem, but it's not an airplane drinking problem.
Just a wee bit.
You don't really have a drinking problem, kid.
That's true. Like I said, it's not an airplane drinking problem. Flash. So. Oh, wait. Responding, doing things. Because I don't know how to not do things. Okay, so I think we can build off that one. I'm not gonna worry about the Wild Arms one yet, Probo, because I think we can build off on that one. I think we had a good little conversation there, and I actually want to dive into that one a little bit more, as Kayla and I were talking about it, and that is Marvel versus DC, and the entire topic point is with the MCU and the DCEU, which is better? Are both bad? Are we kind of getting tired of like comic book movies, you know? And we're going back and forth, and DC has this issue of like having to recast every like 5 minutes because they don't know what they're doing. And I love the MCU, but it's going on to the point where I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'm kind of excited for this, but
I think I'm more excited now that we have the opportunity to branch out from the Avengers, or we get things like Fantastic Four, because that's, Marvel's first family. And while there was nothing wrong with like the very first Fantastic Four movie way back in the early 2000s, I know Silver Surfer did not go as well as they intended it to go.
that's true. But you know what? It still did better than Fan Four Stick. So,
Well, there's that too. I mean, this is something I was talking to you about in the channel, Kit, is that Marvel started at a big disadvantage where three of their biggest properties, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man, they had sold the rights to. So they started off with, not that the Avengers were unknown, but compared to those other three, they weren't quite as big.
yeah, compared to the other three, the main three, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, and X-Men, were all bought by Fox. They were all commercially.
No, Spider-Man was Sony.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sony had. They were all commercially successful in their own regards. Whether or not fans enjoyed all the movies, trust me, there's a lot of issues I have with X-Men 3.
Oh yes, that goes without saying. And I refuse to watch Dark Phoenix on principle.
I refuse. Yeah, and Apocalypse wasn't bad. The least
It wasn't great though.
At least they did my girl Psylocke justice, unlike they did in X-Men 3. Yes, there is a Psylocke in X-Men 3. No, it's not actually Psylocke. It was a little weird spiky-haired girl that can turn invisible.
Well, that's because Olivia Munn is just like perfect fan cast for Psylocke.
Oh yeah.
But like a lot of Apocalypse was still problematic. I'm sorry, but Jean Grey does not just inherently have fiery Phoenix powers, because that's not how it works.
He didn't. Yeah, they tried to do it in the original X3. They thought that was a good idea.
No, she died and was taken over by the Phoenix Force in X2.
True.
I try to pretend that anything before Iron Man 2008 doesn't exist.
I mean, I don't know if that's totally fair.
I will say we still had great Marvel movies come out before Iron Man, and the biggest example is
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. The Sam Raimi Spider-Mans were amazing.
Yes, they were.
Well, 1 and 2 were
The
amazing.
cringe, that was Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. And then the bigger one, the one that I think is still does really well, minus again, their third movies always were trash. Go figure. But Blade was killer. Blade was an amazing one. And then you have Daredevil and Elektra, which were pretty much shooting yourself in the foot. Those movies were.
Yeah.
Okay, I will rephrase. Before Iron Man in 2008, Marvel movies were a crapshoot.
They were. I will give that 100%.
I mean, because we had two different Hulk movies. There was the one that was like 3 hours long.
That was the original Hulk.
Yeah, and then there was the one later with Edward Norton.
That's the Invincible Hulk, which was their
not as good either.
Yeah. which was their attempt to bring in Hulk into the startup of the
Yeah.
MCU. Which
Although, but it's not technically considered an MCU film.
Yep, it is. It was done before they started the MCU, but it was still connected in one way because of the Iron Man scene. Tony
Yeah,
Stark
that's
at
true.
the end. So
That's
it is canon but non-canon to the MCU.
Mhm.
That word will get thrown around a lot whenever you're talking about comics and comic book movies
Yes.
and
Well, you
a
even
lot
see
of
that it
things.
gets thrown around in Star Wars.
Yeah, but Star Wars got shafted.
It did. I'm aware of this.
Disney shafted the Star Wars fans by
Disney shafted it by basically cutting Legends canon off at the knees, but at the same time, Filoni and Favreau have been slowly trying to bring parts of it back. So
With the snap of their fingers, Disney destroyed half, if not most, of the
most,
extended universe.
like 75%
yes,
of the extended universe.
yes.
Like clean. They were just like, oh yeah, all these books, yeah, not non-canon. Yep. We're gonna
Gone.
Thanos
Even like
this. Okay, cool.
the original novelizations too. were,
Yeah,
like
the
first
original
6
one.
films went away, and I was very sad about that because, like, hands down, the Matthew Stover adaptation of Revenge of the Sith, I love.
That is actually a really good one. It's like the better
Mhm.
way of doing it. Don't get me wrong, Anakin versus Obi-Wan's still amazing.
Oh, for sure. But it gives so much more character to Anakin because and I'll say this because it's my stance, and you know this, Kit. The prequels were basically George Lucas being let in the proverbial candy store of CGI, with no director telling him, no, no. So, I mean, we saw that especially with the really bad writing between Anakin and Padme in Episode 2, and while 3 was better,
It still was not
we
great.
I mean, there's still there's scenes describing Anakin's first moments as Vader and realizing what it meant that, what it was going to be like to be Vader forever when he wakes up and realizes there was never a Darth Vader. It was just Anakin throwing a temper tantrum.
Hmm.
And now it has cost him everything, and the only person that understands him is Palpatine, and he doesn't really want to be near Palpatine, but he no longer has a choice.
Yep.
So I loved the nuance there, but we're getting way off track on the
We are. Yeah, it's easy to get into Star Wars. We'll have to we'll have to do a Star Wars topic in the Discord eventually.
Oh god, do that with caution.
I can't wait to bring up the sand.
it's coarse and it gets everywhere.
It's coarse and it's rough and it gets everywhere.
This is a horrible line.
It is a bad line.
But yeah, no, like again, Marvel and DC both in their own respective areas have done really well. You get DC animation films, I will always state. Chef's Kiss, they are always great, especially if you've not watched it, start from Flashpoint and then watch the new 52 movies, which is Justice League Dark, that set of films. And it ends it with Justice League Dark Apocalypse. That's the one where Constantine is technically the main character.
Mhm. Well, and plus, other things The Killing Joke. Well, it's not my favorite adaptation for The Killing Joke. I think it's still the comic for The Killing Joke stands alone.
Under the Red Hood.
Under the Red Hood.
Yeah, but The Killing Joke did bring back a Hamill Joker. It was his one condition for coming back as a Joker, aside from he had to have Kevin Conroy's Batman, was that it had to be The Killing Joke. But that, or even Gotham by Gaslight, that adaptation was a fun one.
What was the Halloween one? The two-parter? Long Halloween, part 1, part 2.
Yeah.
Those were good.
And there's Dark Victory.
Yeah, I still have not watched Crisis on Infinite Earths primarily because of one scene. And I'm sad that Hamill didn't reprise his role with the Joker just for that one scene, because it is Conway's last lines in an animated film.
It might have been that they didn't have the time to get Hamill, depending on when it was.
Yeah, because they recorded that a while ago, but that
Yeah.
was it. That was his like last recorded lines for a DC animated film.
And
He's
of course,
Yeah.
that also means we'll never have a Mark Hamill Joker again either.
yeah, which is one of my favorite
Depressing.
Jokers.
hmm
It's what I styled my Joker laugh after, which turned more into a carnage laughter.
Yeah, I mean, they had so much more success with their animated properties. And then it's like they get to, because at that point you could have any voice and it's more about does the voice fit the character as opposed to trying to like fully physically embody this person, especially Superman and Batman. Um and the problem too is like unlike Cap and Tony, which would be the closest equivalents right now in the cinematic universes, Superman is like a paragon. Because
He is. He's almost as much of a paragon as your cat trying to get out your door.
oh, what are you doing in here?
She's just looking at the door like, I will get out of here.
I didn't
Meow.
in here. Next thing she's gonna do is get up on my Lego shelf. But like Superman, if you the way Superman is written, at least always in my perspective, and feel free to disagree, but he's a paragon, and anytime he's not a paragon, you basically get Red Sun or Injustice. Um,
I-
he hard swings.
I will state this. I think this is, and going into like the live action movies here with the new Superman film, I think that's kind of where they're breaking that mold, is having Superman almost have the emotions and not being the super Boy Scout of America, I can do no wrong. That's the issue I always have with Superman is a lot of the time it is that he's either I'm the America's Boy Scout and I can do no wrong, and oh, they don't like us right now, we should turn ourselves into the police. Or
Yeah.
he is, oh, Lois is dead. You all die because none of you did anything, and you're stepping out of line. Yeah, no, you're dead. Okay, cool. Oh, you did you see what happened to Steve over here? Okay, cool. No, okay, you're dead. Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, no, he swings too much back and forth. And that makes it really hard to portray him. I mean, and then of course it's similar to like the problem with Spider-Man is having to embody both sides of Spider-Man. The problem with Batman is embodying both sides, and we've only had a
Man.
handful of actors who can do that.
Yeah.
Poor Spider-Man. He's had it so rough in the comics over the past few years.
Oh yeah, he
I
has.
know.
He really
It's like
has.
he's Marvel's punching bag at this point.
Well, that's because Stan Lee's gone. He can't defend Spidey anymore.
Yeah.
That's true.
And that just makes me sad.
It does. But yeah, like
Spider-Man was his kid. Everyone's like, no one's gonna want to read that, and then Stanley's like, I'm gonna sneak him into this, and everyone's like, oh, we like this, and he's like, told ya. And now that Stan's gone, they're like, how can we mess with Spider-Man? Oh, let's let Doc Ock take over his body and then ruin his entire
that was
life.
a while ago. That was
It was.
Superior Spider-Man.
And then they keep messing with him like that, like every
Yeah, I
single
mean,
chance.
Same could be said of the X-Men at this point, because the X-Men for a while had their own freaking nation, and now they don't.
Yep,
Krakoa is gone.
Krakoa is gone.
They're on the war path against anti-mutant people, including Trask and Wanda.
Which is so weird that, well, it's not weird that Wanda is being a villain, but Wanda is so...
Well, it's not even that. It's just they're mad at her for the House of M incident.
Still, that's been like 40 years. Okay, 30 years, but House of M came out in the 90s, everyone. Just letting everyone know. I remember reading that comic run. I don't have any of my books anymore. I wish I did, because they were good and so sad.
But in fairness, like in the time relative to the timeline, I mean, come on, the Sentinels incident was a while ago too.
That's true.
It was a future past. So they're just mad because their numbers have dwindled so badly because of the shit that happened at the Hellfire Gala last year. Yeah, no, I mean, like, but the what I was getting at is just like Superman's hard because he's a paragon. Batman's hard because you're playing two different characters. Not to mention, Batman is like rage with a line, and normally in movie writing, you let them cross the line when they reach that
Hmm.
level.
I will state that as much as I don't like the Nolan Batmans, yeah, Nolan's Batman never killed anyone, but he also didn't save any. That was the best line of I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you. It's like that's as close to crossing the line as Batman would ever truly get. What's up, Sushi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the closest he would ever get. Because if you want to get a killing Batman, you go with his dad, which
Thomas Wayne.
Thomas Wayne in Flashpoint Paradox, who isn't martial arts savvy, but he runs around with two Colt 45s and just
Yeah,
murders
seriously.
criminals. Granted, the Joker in that universe is Martha Wayne,
That's right.
because she goes mad from the fact that
She
Bruce
loses
is
her
the one
mind
that
from the
died.
death of Bruce. Yeah, and then Thomas decides to become vengeance.
Yeah,
This guy.
that's a messed up storyline.
Yeah, it is. That's all the Flash's fault, of course.
It always is.
Yeah, I mean, and the other problem that DC has with its casting is like it's not picking super it's not okay, it's maybe not that they're not popular, but it's that they're picking, lack of a better term, problematic actors right now. I mean, Ezra Miller,
Mm-hmm.
need we say more?
Yeah, that's all you need to say.
Ezra Miller. Aquaman started having trouble because of Amber Heard. Whether or not
Mm-hmm.
she was in the right, which I'm not going to discuss. I don't. They're both at fault. Let's be honest.
Yes.
The problem is just like Amber Heard made it, fine for the first movie because that was before the drama really kicked off. But then we hit, the second film. Nobody wants Amber Heard in this movie. Not even from what I understand, Jason Momoa. So it kind of became problematic to have her, but they couldn't really get rid of her because they had a contract.
Yeah,
So even
that's a rough part too.
even Zachary Levi, with some of his political leanings and then also just his attitude towards being Shazam, where he's like super upset that he's not like he didn't skyrocket him into A-list fame, which is just like, dude,
It was
realize it's
so in that defense, and this is the weird funny part. In that defense, it really should have. But the issue is no one cares about DC. Which is not true, but like when it comes to movies, everyone's like, oh, but yeah, it's just a DC film. But they can be really good. You guys all like Batman. Yeah, but that's Batman. Okay, you just like a rich boy who cried about his mom and dad dying.
Yeah. When it comes to DC, it feels like Batman's the only one that really gets a pass when it comes to live action movies. And then
Yeah.
the rest, at least, in the public zeitgeist, either range from to terrible. Which isn't fair to, most of them. No, half of them maybe.
I would say most of them. I mean, honestly, we've had only one Green Lantern movie, which is supposed to be Hal, and unfortunately, don't get me wrong, I think, why am I spacing his name? Why
If
am
you
I?
can't think of his name, you could just call him Pikachu or Deadpool.
Yeah, that's why I'm like
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds. Sorry, I'm glad he makes jokes about that movie not doing well. But right now, we don't know who in the new Superman universe that they're building. We don't know who's going to be Hal. We don't know who's going to be John. but they do exist. We do know who's going to be our favorite our least favorite Green Lantern, Guy Gardner. You went mute.
We do know for the Lanterns live action show, we do know who's going to be.
Oh, we do?
Colin John, yes, we do. Where did I put it? Kyle Chandler is going to be Hal Jordan.
Okay.
And Aaron Pierre is going to be Jon Stewart.
Okay. Those I don't feel negative about either of those. I'm very neutral to it, so they should be good.
I mean, and then Nathan Fillion is also going to make an appearance.
Yeah. Well, Nathan Fillion is going to be Guy Gardner again, our favorite punching bag. I mean,
needs to get rid of that damn bowl cut.
No, they need to keep it. The bowl cut has to stay.
It ages him though.
It's either they have to do the bowl cut or they have to do that horrible, awful faux hawk he had in the comic books for like a year and a half. That horrible faux hawk. I don't care either. It has to be one of those two.
Hear me out. Pompadour.
Oh my god, I think he had a pompadour at one point in time in the comic books too. I think the pompadour is like his second hairstyle. But okay, those three.
Something about just like, I don't know, it was something about Fury or what is it, the second Shazam movie that it didn't do as well as the first, and it kind of ended his time as Shazam because of it. And it's kind of a little bit of they added too much too fast, because they added Hawkman and Hawkwoman, they added the gods, it was the introduction to Black Adam, and
the attempted introduction of Black Adam.
Well, yeah, and then the Black Adam movie
Thanks,
didn't
Rock.
do much better. It didn't, as much as it was, the first one went well, the second one kind of killed any ability for him to kind of skyrocket further. I don't really know what he's bitching about, because Zach Levi's got a pretty decent career without that. It's not
does.
Like how Iron Man basically rebooted Robert Downey Jr.'s career after being Hollywood blacklisted.
Well, rehab kind of does that to you too.
Well, rehab is real. But on top of that, it also booted the career. It jump started the careers of Hemsworth, who hadn't been in a whole lot of stuff right before Thor. Evans hadn't done he'd done some random stuff.
He's done a lot of rom-coms.
Well, yeah, he did a lot of rom-coms. He was the first Human Torch. He'd also done things like it was The Replacements. No, it wasn't The Replacements. It's like the A-Team, but not the A-Team. I can't remember what it's called right
now. God, I don't remember either.
Yeah, but he kind of just did like a whole bunch of random stuff. It was definitely more in like the B list. And then he got the role as Cap, and it pushed him into the stratosphere. And then he started to, towards the end of his tenure, he had things like Snowpiercer, which was very different for him. Then there was Knives Out. Now there's this one that he's doing with Pedro Pascal in a couple weeks. He's now gotten a much cushier level of stuff.
Yes.
And even Mark Ruffalo, it took him from being just a rom-com guy to doing more.
Yep. Very much a rom-com / side character in a lot of those type of films.
Right.
But and again, the hard part is like DC is, again, they're live action. We talked about the shows in the Discord, but like their live action movies don't really elevate people. Their shows actually do a lot more, for good or for worse, depending on where you go. Like if you go to the CW, the Arrowverse did an amazing job really elevating all of those actors, but then you get to the HBO shows like Doom Patrol, which again has some great moments, but didn't do really well. But that's because it was right off the heels of the Titans.
Yeah, Titans.
Titans was.
Well, at this point, most people who watch the Titans show have also watched the Teen Titans original animated series. It's kind of hard to compare the two.
And it's really hard when you make Dick Grayson like the super hateful asshole against Bruce Wayne. Yes, they didn't get along when he left and became Nightwing, but he didn't hate Bruce. He
wanted to strike out on his own.
Yeah, he just didn't agree with Bruce. There's a difference where in the Titans show, there are scenes where Dick straight up says, "Fuck Bruce, fuck him. I don't give a fuck. He can go fucking die." You're like, that's not Dick.
It's not how that works. It's and then you contrast that with like when he's taken in by Slate in the animated show. It's like maybe he'll call me father, and he goes, "I already have a father." And you get the bats, and you know who he's talking about. But it's like, that didn't do well. Doom Patrol was a bit hit or miss. Also, because they had some interesting additions to Doom Patrol.
They did.
Which was kind of strange. I mean, you'd think Cyborg would be better suited to the Titans show. And if you're going to call it Titans, they got to be older. Raven can't be 14.
Yeah.
I just want another season of Teen Titans to come back. That's all.
Yes.
Of normal Teen Titans not go.
Yeah. I just want one proper season to finally wrap it up, and I'll be happy. Samurai Jack got it. Teen Titans should get it.
I 100% agree on that one. Justice for Teen Titans.
Yes, justice for Teen Titans. I mean, but yeah, like DC's kind of like, I mean, and even like, let's just point out the fact that we've now had 2 different Suicide Squad films because the first one tanked hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then they tried to, because Margot Robbie's portrayal of Harley Quinn was decent.
Unfortunately, Birds of Prey did not do.
So many problems with that because Harley Quinn is never a member of the Birds of Prey.
Yeah, and she could not save that film. There's no way she could save that film.
Plus, I mean, from what I remember, it doesn't even have some of the bigger members of the Birds of Prey, like the Black Canary and the Oracle.
Yeah, Birds of Prey kind of is majority Bat Fam. Huntress,
right.
Oracle,
Black Canary,
who's not Stephanie's part of that too. Who was the second Batgirl? Second or third Batgirl.
but like
Black Canary's the only one that isn't like Bat Fam. I mean, she slept with Bruce, but that's besides the point. Who hasn't slept with Bruce? Okay.
But it's just like you can't call it the Birds of Prey and then not put any of the OG Birds of Prey in. Like it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, and it was a bad, like they're banking off of Margot Robbie, which again did an amazing Harley. I'll give her that. Granted, their attempt to give her a good Joker was
we don't talk about him.
Listen, I have like no acting skills and I can act better than him.
Look, the only thing I remember of that Joker is I'm damaged.
I'm not watching the new Tron movie because of him.
I can't stand Jared Leto.
No, I can't either. No, what got me and what really turned me off of his Joker was that fucking laugh. That
It's like, he always has to sound like an insane man, not this weird, semi-sarcastic, slow clap laugh.
Yeah, you've got to have the haws. You have to be loud and just from the chest. You gotta be laughing hysterically.
Almost like you can see the ha-has in the air as he's doing it.
Yeah,
it's unhinged because you're supposed to be afraid of it.
Yeah, you've got to have that over-exaggerated creepiness to it.
But yeah, I mean, like, that's been a problem. I mean, like, because the only person I can really think of that the DCEU kind of brought up a couple levels in terms of fame was Gal Gadot. But then that second film tanked any progress they made.
That's because they went with something that they probably shouldn't have even touched because they gave her the freaking armor, which everyone's like, why is Hot Girl in this movie? And it's like, that armor is used like once in the comic books.
Okay, that's not even why that movie's a problem.
Well, there's also the
Steve Trevor.
Yeah.
I love me Chris Pine as Steve Trevor, don't get me wrong, but the way that they handled that, where he basically just took a guy's body for a bit, especially during the middle of the Me Too era, what were we thinking?
Yeah. There was a little bit of some less than favorable choices made.
Like,
Mhm.
Cheetah and Max aren't bad villains, but you know who would have been a great villain that would have also opened the door before Shazam, before Black Adam for magic would have been Cersei.
Cersei would have been good.
Because then that also helps open the door for things like Dr. Fate, the Sentinels of Magic, Zatanna.
You know who they could have done as well and gave
Hmm.
her a better redemption? Enchantress
True.
with the Executioner. You want
True.
two villains? There you go. You got her and her main henchman. Oh, hey, look.
I never understand
Fixed.
why I never understand why the first instinct to up a second film in a franchise is to go more villains.
Did-
They think bigger is better.
that is
Spider-Man's
true.
proven time again that the more villains you add, the lower in quality the movie gets. I mean, Spider-Man 3, we had, we had
Sandman,
Sandman,
Hobgoblin, and
Hobgoblin, and we
Venom.
had
Venom. Sorry, not Hobgoblin, son of the Green Goblin.
Son of the Green Goblin, yeah, sure, and Venom. And that nobody likes the third Sam Raimi film. Nobody.
Nope.
Especially because of his cringe emo dancing in the street. But like there's that, there's even in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, where we at the end all of a sudden we're like, oh hey, Rhino! In addition to Electro and the Green Goblin or the Hobgoblin or whoever the hell he is.
See, the hard part is that and that's the thing they don't actually explain very well is Green Goblin, son of the Green Goblin, which is always, the son.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
Hobgoblin is actually just the Green Goblin revived. That's the entire point of him.
Depends sometimes, because sometimes Ned
Ned becomes a Hobgoblin too, yeah.
Yeah, which but like the more villains that you add to a story like this, unless you have an equal amount of heroes like No Way Home, it works. But like Amazing Spider-Man, dropping Rhino at the end totally robs the emotional impact of the fact that Gwen is dead. And it's like, oh, we're now gonna start fighting. It's like, wait. Why not just show him just doing like smaller Spidey stuff instead of we're gonna have a big smackdown with the guy in their big, Rhino suit.
Yeah.
It was Paul Giamatti, which was I question that to this day.
I was going to say, Sushi brought up something. How are you going to introduce the Sinister Six and not do anything with them? Yeah,
Well-
that's true, but unfortunately, because
I think they
comic
would've
book
done-
movies here's the thing. Comic book movies have a really bad habit of going, hey, here's this villain, we're going to kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think also it's just that they were hoping to build up to the Sinister Six. And then because Amazing Spider-Man 2 did so badly, they never got to do a Sinister Six against Spider-Man. Just like how there was thoughts with like Kraven and Venom, they were going to start, and Morbius, that they were going to start building a Sinister Six Sonyverse. And that didn't go well because Morbius was terrible because, again, Jared Leto. And Kraven was terrible because Kraven is just, I don't really see how you do a movie with Kraven.
They tried to make Kraven a hero in a movie
No.
about a villain.
It's not how that works. Like, and Venom was the only one of those that did reasonably good. Even then, it wasn't a critical success. The studio.
Listen, I have issues
know
with
you-
Venom. I have issues with Venom, the Venom movies. I have a really big issue with the second one because of reasons. We'll go ahead and say this because I don't think Prevo's heard this. Hey, Prevo, I flew out to Las Vegas to audition to play Butch
I didn't
Cassidy.
know that.
Excuse me.
You didn't know
I didn't
that? Yeah, I flew out to.
This must have been after I moved out.
It was like I flew out to do it, and I sat there. I did the lines. They're like, okay, that's not bad, blah blah. And then they're like, all right, you have a great day. We'll be in contact. I'm like, cool. Oh no, I walked out and guess who walked it right by me?
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah. And I stopped. I'm like, fuck. Well, there were my chances.
I would focus on the part where you gotta kind of like brush shoulders with Woody Harrelson for a second.
Yeah.
That was awesome because I like him, but it's like one of those things. As soon as I saw him walk by me to go into the same room, I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting part like that.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, no, I mean it's just obviously Sony has its own problems, but it's just like every time that you throw more villains at the problem does not get better. The problem gets worse.
It really does.
I mean, really, the only time that throwing more villains at the problem works is when you have more protagonists to address, like No Way Home, where instead of one Spider-Man, you now have 3 Spider-Men dealing with the shit.
Mhm.
You know, Infinity War and Endgame. Sure, you have Thanos as the big overarching, but you still have Proxima Midnight and Squidward and the rest of them to deal with.
Fucking
So
Squidward.
now I can't remember his actual name, so I just remember what Tony called him. You know, like now you're throwing not just the Avengers, but the extended Avengers, the armies of Wakanda, etc., at them, which is a lot better. You know, the fact that Marvel focused on not just the superhero aspect or the enhanced person or the robotics, but also started going into things like science or more scientific stuff and more magical stuff. Bringing in Doctor Strange was a really smart move. Going extraterrestrial with the Guardians of the Galaxy was almost like the ultimate middle finger to DC because at that point, DC hadn't released Wonder Woman yet. So it was a question of Marvel can do a movie with a fucking raccoon as its main character. Where's DC's female protagonist?
I will state this. I can state, and this is on DC's end, by the way, too, where
Mhm.
having too many heroes is an issue.
Yeah.
That is Batman versus Superman.
Yes, but that's because they spit it. I mean, let's put it this way: the heroes versus heroes thing was better done in Civil War.
Well, you could do a Batman versus Superman. You can make a great one.
Yeah.
The issue is who they made their villain, and the fact that the impact of that entire thing. And I'm gonna go ahead and fucking spoil this. I don't give a fuck. The fact that you're gonna have Doomsday as your villain and then kill Superman, and you haven't built up, you haven't given people to get emotionally invested in Superman
Yeah,
and take
that's
him
problematic.
away. And furthermore, the best storylines with Doomsday is after he's kicked the entire Justice League's ass, and Superman's like, "Oh, I can't hold back, and I have to sacrifice and use everything to stop this thing, and
Right.
it's
I
still
mean,
going to take my life."
right. I mean, I always liked with Marvel the fact that because there's so much interconnected stuff that while Infinity War was devastating, it was devastating because we had the time to get to know all of these characters, even characters we'd
Mm-hmm.
only seen for a movie at that point, like Sam,
Hmm.
and T'Challa, and etc. Like we hadn't seen a whole lot of Sam. Well, we'd seen him in 2 movies, I guess, but we hadn't seen
Yeah.
a whole lot of him. But now we're losing them, and it shocks you. It's you because you're right. You have that emotional impact. Whereas, yeah, if you've only had Superman for a couple movies and he hasn't had a whole lot of character development because you're spending most of the time on, well, he's Superman. I mean, hell, like,
Hey, I will always state this, man. Still did one thing right. They gave
Mm.
us DBZ action in a Superman film, which is what we always wanted, because you got 2 characters that move at the speed of light. It could move close to the speed of light fighting.
Mhm.
You should have impact. You should have like cities get destroyed. You should have DBZ level fights.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think one thing I also appreciate when it comes to the way that Marvel's handle a lot of this versus DC, talking to Krista about this earlier, is the fact that Marvel's overarching plan continuously links people together. And it's not uncommon for you to see actors keep coming back, like Martin Freeman between Civil War and Black Panther, or Coulson. That's a great
Mm-hmm.
example. getting Phil Coulson in Iron Man 2, in Iron Man 2, Thor, and then the first Avengers film, not counting Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I wish we could.
I mean, we can for sure, but it's just like,
I'm still shaking my fist at Disney for that. So,
oh well. But like getting the interconnectedness of the story, even introducing Jeremy Renner as part of Thor was kind of a smart move, or
yeah, giving us
smart move.
Hawkeye early and not telling us it's
Right.
Hawkeye, but kind of
Right, well, the
alluding
same
it's
thing with,
Hawkeye.
yeah, well, the same thing with Natasha. We don't see Natasha's actual costume
Oh, geez.
until the end of the film.
Oh.
There's a much more interconnected story so that you can get to know some of the characters that may not get screen time in a different way. And this was before they started adding in the shows, which some are great, some aren't. I know, what was it? It wasn't Secret Wars, or was it Secret Wars show? But that didn't do as well as things like
Yeah.
WandaVision and Agatha All Along, which that's fun, and I hope we get to see more of Agatha and Wiccan. Because that was a great cast.
I will state, I think this is going back to like an earlier point, House of M. WandaVision is, I think, the best way they could have done House of M without having the X-Men and without having Wanda feel like she's so overpowered to the point that,
She literally wipes out a portion of the population.
Yeah. Listen, Wanda is one of those stupid characters because not only is it chaos magic, but her chaos magic so strong she can affect probability. So the entire joke of who was it? She was fighting someone. Oh, she was fighting Loki, and Loki was kicking her ass. He's like, well, you can't do anything to me. What are you going to do? What little spell are you going to cast to beat me? She's like, nothing. I'm just going to make sure that someone appears who can beat you. And right when she says that, there's a bolt of lightning, and Thor's right behind Loki. And Loki hadn't seen Thor for years at that point. And he was just like, oh, shit.
Yeah. I mean, but like, some of the TV shows have had great direction. Some of them haven't. Loki was a great one, though.
Loki was amazing.
Aside from the fact that we're going to get Tom Hiddleston again for Doomsday, it was a nice kind of wrap up to that particular version of Loki. Maybe we get that one. Maybe we get a different variant. It was a nice touch, and it was a nice way to kind of start really expanding upon the multiverse saga. Even if we don't get Kang the Conqueror because Jonathan Majors did the stupid.
He got a little. I can't say that on YouTube.
He did. He got a little aggressive. But on top of that, like, he also just, I think the thing that really lost him a lot of favor with fans was when he then went, well, other people in the Marvel cinematic have done bad things and have been forgiven, and it's like, after they paid their dues.
Yeah, and not to mention, let's remember, you got a little touchy with people that didn't want to be touched. That's the best way to put it.
Well, that's the thing. It's like Robert Downey Jr., because that's who he was referring to. Robert Downey Jr. hadn't hurt anyone yet. He recognized that he was going to. And of course, he'd also been arrested for being DUI, or for DUIs, not being DUIs. He'd been arrested. So he hadn't hurt anyone yet, and he understood it was time to, fix things. Whereas Jonathan Majors is just going, I haven't done anything wrong. It's not fair. And it's like, dude, you hurt people.
Yeah. And not like physically, not Flash hurt people. He mentally scarred people in a way that they're not going to recover for times.
Yeah, so it's just like, I can't, as much as it sucks that we don't get Kang the Conqueror, it's the best move that Marvel could have made.
Yep.
I'm sure we will get him eventually, but they'll probably want to put enough space behind it. It's not like when they switched between Terrence Howard and Don Cheadle for Rhodey, which was a change that was, one, for the better, and two, nobody really noticed.
No one. That's sounding a little racist there. What are you trying to
And
say?
it's not even that. It's more just like because Don Cheadle better fit.
No, Don Cheadle really did. It's
He better fit RDJ's energy.
he did because
Well,
100%.
people weren't upset at the switch, and from what it sounds like,
Actually, I think more people praised it than anything.
right, Terrence Howard was holding out for more money, and they went, "Nah, we're gonna go with somebody else." Like, and I wasn't a big fan of the way that they did Rhodey because he was super stiff. And yes, I understand part of his character is meant to be a bit of a foil to Tony, but it just seemed like he was unforgiving.
Yeah, there was issues with that first movie of like
It was
how
a very
Rhodey
burden for
was.
him. Especially given that, then you have like not Jeff Bridges. Yeah, it's Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges in the first one.
Yeah, you've got a powerhouse actor, and you've got, RDJ, who, as we know, is a great actor in his own right. And then you have Terrence Howard, who's being very wooden compared to these two. And it just doesn't make sense. His delivery comes across very flat. And then you put in Don Cheadle, and it just changes for the better. So I don't know. It's that made more sense why they made that switch then. And of course, it wasn't because of bad behavior. Whereas, they've got to put some distance between themselves and Jonathan Majors and Kang the Conqueror in order to kind of let that die down before they can recast Kang.
I'll state this: they don't have to let it die down. I've got a solution for you, Marvel. You need a new Kang? Hi.
Yeah, Kid'll do it.
I'll do it. I'll be Kang.
You might need to bulk up there, Kit.
I don't need to bulk up. Fuck, I don't need to bulk up. Let me pull the boys. I'm not gonna bulk up. Put me in a muscle suit. Let's go.
Oh, so you're gonna
CG
be
that
the
shit.
equivalent. Got it.
Yeah. Shit, I'm gonna be sitting down half the time anyways. Give me my floating chair. We'll call it good.
But yeah, I mean, I think that there's definite Marvel fatigue at this point because it's been, very successful almost 20 years at this point.
It'll be 20 years
In 3 years.
In 3
Yeah,
years,
3 years.
Yeah, so it's been 17 years. They've had how many movies? Which is it's like an average of almost like 3 movies a year at this point.
I think they've slowed down recently, but it's been close to that. I think the last couple of years it's been like 2, but it's mainly they've also had a lot more shows come out. So they sacrificed a movie for like 3 shows.
Exactly. I mean, and the shows have, like I said, some of the shows are really strong. I haven't seen them all yet.
Hawkeye's good. If you haven't watched
Falcon and the
it.
Winter Soldier. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was
Falcon and the
fantastic.
Winter Soldier was good too.
Especially because now with Thunderbolts, it set up a whole lot of things. And also Captain America: New World Order. WandaVision was great. I will continue to rewatch Agatha All Along because it was just fun. I heard great things about Hawkeye. Really, the one I hadn't heard a whole lot. Loki was great too. The only thing I really hadn't heard great things about was Secret Wars.
Secret Wars was it had some good points, but
aside from the fact that it's gonna gut punch the next time we see Rhodey on screen.
Mm-hmm. I will state this. Yeah, they've done really well. They've had hits. They have had misses. They've had a lot more hits than they've had misses. That's for sure.
Exactly.
There's still nothing more gut wrenching than when we went and saw Endgame.
Oh my god!
And then
so up the 3 of us.
there was everything happened. The theater went silent because we get everyone yeah, let's go. When Tony sits and goes, I am Iron Man, snaps, and then it goes silent, and then
and we're just all. And by that point too, there'd also still been tears because there was the sudden attack on the Avengers campus right after they were like, I think we snapped everyone back, and there was just all of this Natasha's death was also extremely sad, given that she kind of didn't get a whole lot of resolution of anything, especially then watching Hulk's response.
Yes.
Like it was just like it was a movie that devastated and then would give you a shock or something to cheer about and then would just go straight back to devastating you. You know, getting to watch like Ant-Man and the Wasp have a battlefield reunion. Where all
I
of a sudden like he just turns around and she's there and you're like, "Oh my god, I wish I
I
could have a better moment, but that's also good too."
yeah, I will state this. We had our moment. Everyone was crying, and then those two fucking kids right in front of us. Why is everyone quiet? Mother I was
I mean, that's
oh, oh.
that's the equivalent of I remember walking out of the theater for I want to say it was either Jason Bourne or the Bourne Legacy. And somebody went, "Yeah, you know, Jason Bourne is the or no, James Bond is the American equivalent of Jason Bourne." And I was like, "No. No."
That's full on backhand, just straight across, just follow
No.
through.
They're not the same thing. Bond predates Bourne.
What's going on in the chat? I know what I know what's going on. Zeku's going on because Zeku we talked about Wanda and automatically the Marvel rivals pure yeah. No, shut up, Wanda. No one cares. I play
Yeah,
Emma
no.
Frost. You sit there and say pure, and I'm in range. I'm jumping up and choke slamming you. Okay, simple as that.
I think though, like DC needs to address its casting issues.
It does 100%. It needs to address it. I think they've got a good casting. They just need to stick with the casting.
Hopefully, Dave and I mean, and obviously, getting rid of Zack Snyder was a smart move, given the insane things he had planned for Batman. That you just sit there and you go, "What the fuck, man?" Like better casting, and I'd almost at this point say, if you really want to do better casting, upgrade Robert Pattinson from Otherworlds to your Batman.
Robert Pattinson's not bad. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I will state
He
that.
wanted that role so bad. I have read interviews where he's like, "I hate the gym, but because I wanted this role so bad, I gave up the pub for a year in favor of the gym. I wanted to be Batman."
Yeah, he like I said, I'm pleasantly surprised by him
Yeah,
being.
and I think that with the Batman Part 2, hopefully we'll start to see him develop more as Bruce.
Which is always the hard part. Your camera froze, by the way, Stormwind.
Well, I can't do anything about that.
I know. Oh Jesus!
But it's that hides my that hides the buffer problem. But
Oh shit! Hold on. Give it a minute. We just got 5 subs. Rio, thank you for gifting 5 subs. Jesus.
Thanks, Rio.
I love that it just stopped. I don't know why it acted that way. It did a double version.
But yeah, like I think, you know, especially given that the Batman was Batman Year One, basically.
Yeah.
It makes sense that Bruce isn't developed yet. He's still finding the balance between being Batman and being Bruce. And he's leaning heavily on the Batman side.
Yes. He really is.
So I think it's just like I really hope we get to see it. I also really liked Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman.
Oh yeah,
Colin
that's right. Yeah.
Farrell was an unexpected fun as Penguin, although he almost looks like Richard Kind.
Yes, he really does. Yeah, no, like I said, they're again DC. I think if DC keeps with their casting right now, I think they can be in a good spot. They need to not do another shake up reset. Like, don't get me wrong, just Jason Momoa is really good as Aquaman. Gal Gadot was really good as Wonder Woman.
We're not gonna get her back.
We're not.
They're gonna shake up again.
She's no longer, and she's not a popular choice anymore. She wouldn't be. She is not well liked right now, so they wouldn't want to. She wouldn't be able to fill a theater, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But like, branch out from the big 3. branch out from the JLA. Bring some other things in.
Yes.
DC's got as wide and as varied a universe and multiverse as Marvel, and Marvel's doing really well right now because they're kind of starting to plumb outside of that core Avengers group. And come on, Guardians of the Galaxy was a gamble, and it paid
It
off.
was. I was gonna say, you know what DC needs to give us?
Hmm.
Give us Constantine.
Yes, I think Keanu Reeves is coming back for that.
Yes, I want that. And give us Spectre.
Especially because that's a big one for the Green Lantern.
Give us a Spectre.
Yeah, give us Kyle.
Yep. Give us Kyle. You can give us Kyle and be like, you have all 4 Green Lanterns now, but one of them's the Spectre, and we're all going to be like, we're okay with that.
I mean, hell, you could even go as far as, because now we're going to have 3 of the Lanterns, and if we get Kyle, you could almost start playing towards, you know, how Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was meant to be horror-coded, and it kind of was, but not as well as we hoped. Push towards Blackest Night.
That would be really good.
With all 4 Lanterns and horror coding, you could have a Blackest Night arc.
You really could. So I want to stop this real quick. Okay, sorry, where were we? God, I lost my complete train of thought seeing that.
We were talking about a Blackest Night arc.
Oh, yes. DC. A Blackest Night would be really good.
Oh,
I would. Get a Blackest Night, but I don't know.
Be parts of it that'd be difficult. I mean, especially explaining just the emotional spectrum. Red Core would be difficult. The Star Sapphires would be difficult.
Listen, the hard part about a Blackest Night is I don't know about Patterson being a Yellow Ring. Because he was a Yellow Ring for a little bit during that. Batman was a Yellow Ring during that.
Yeah, when he stopped being dead, sure.
Because of his entire aspect is fear. Granted, he in that entire comic books run, he did steal a few Green Lantern rings and use them as well.
Well, I think it depends on what goes in one ear and out the other. I think it depends on how he does during the Batman Part 2 and
I think so too.
He's in.
I agree 100%.
You know, it could. I mean, we know that he's starting to utilize that whole fear tactic. That was the whole idea. I mean, he may have been branding it as "I am vengeance," but he was definitely leaning into the fear tactic with people. You know, we saw it at the very beginning of the movie, but it's definitely something that needs to be developed further.
Yes, it 100% does. It really does.
I gotta say, I mean, like, Anne Hathaway was an okay Catwoman, but the chemistry between Kravitz and Pattinson
is really good.
That was Batman and Selina.
That is fucking Joker. Sorry, that was like the biggest event of comic book history. And it's like Batman and Selina are Bruce and Selina are finally gonna get hitched, and then Joker's like, "No, fuck you.
Well,
You ain't taking my boo away."
It wasn't just Joker; it was Bane too.
It was Bane, but it was Joker's like full idea to crash and do everything, because you know Joker would feel lonely if he had to share his little bat Sipu with someone else.
Man's a freak.
I mean, a simple way to put it is, "Oh, Batman, you wound me so. You marry this charlatan when I'm your true love."
Yeah, like I really do also want to see Ray Keegan's Joker that they hinted at the end of the Batman.
Yeah, that would be good.
He had that laugh down.
The hard part is laugh. I think the only other person that had a really good laugh, and unfortunately, God rest his soul, was Heath Ledger. Heath killed it.
He did.
And for the Nolan Batmans, he murdered it. He was like a Joker for that universe perfectly, and I don't have complaints, especially with the entire thing of I'm going to show you a magic trick. I'm going to make this pencil disappear.
It's still the best scene.
God.
Yes. Yeah,
And,
no.
and everybody loses their mind.
Exactly.
All
Like we
right.
had these great casts before the DCEU started, and it feels like we know just how much care is taken when it comes to Marvel's casting process. Like we've seen the directors talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like DC's not taking that level of care
It doesn't feel
for
like
some
it.
reason. No, it doesn't.
You know,
Like,
there's a South Park episode about this.
oh,
There is a
but
South
yeah,
Park episode about you follow the how to do things and you'll succeed. If you don't, you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
because we got, I mean, so many great actors and so many great actors that this was their big like push into stardom.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they hadn't done good things before, but because it was so high profile, it really brought a lot of attention to them. Because like we know Chadwick Boseman was a great actor, but being T'Challa got to push him even further.
It really did.
And it was I think what I've appreciated most is that they keep the really big names for support cast, like Odin and like the Queen Mother. Like we get Anthony Hopkins and Angela Bassett. I like that they're the support characters.
They're not mains. They're the sports.
Right.
They're the
Or
bigger
even
names. They don't need to be forefront.
right, or Michael Douglas as Hank Pym. And that was the other thing too, is that this was the this is why I liked part of the approach of the Batman and also the approach for Spider-Man Homecoming. Some of these superheroes have origin stories that are so overdone. We know how Batman becomes Batman. We know how Spider-Man becomes Spider-Man. Progress us ahead. Give us a movie where we're not focusing on the power thing because we've seen it like 6 times now.
Yeah, but how are you supposed to know about Spider-Man unless we know about great responsibility?
Hey, with great power comes blah blah blah.
But let's point out that they handled that with Tom Holland, where they had May say it at the end during No Way
Mhm.
Home.
Mm.
So they still but it's very different, and it's not like, oh my gosh, we're watching him being bit by the spider for the third time with the third actor. Now we got to learn, watch him redo all of his, learning how to be, as opposed to him kind of being thrown in the middle of it, and it's post Civil War. So now he's really like, I've had a taste of some really cool shit.
I was gonna say that's the one thing they did well with Civil War and introducing Spidey was we assume you've already watched at least one Spider-Man movie and heard the spiel and seen everything that goes down. So here's Spider-Man, and everyone went, "Oh, okay, we just got Spider-Man."
I think that's what the animated series did so well was that it just by the time that starts, Peter's already well into like college, isn't he?
Oh,
If not adulthood.
The original animated,
Yeah.
yeah,
90s one.
he was in college, and it's like episode 3 that they explain a little bit more. Like they always did, like back in the 90s. They were like, "Hey, this is how I became Spider-Man," but they actually did an episode where it was him in high school, and then they're like, "Cool, there's the backstory. Now we're going back to Spider-Man doing Spider-Man things."
Yeah.
right. And I appreciate that so much more than us having a whole, oh my gosh, here's Batman learning how to do his thing again. Oh, we're gonna get the same little flashback sequence every movie of the pearls and the blood and the kids screaming in the middle of the alley. Come on, we know it. We
Yeah.
know it. Let's
We're-
focus on the now.
Not to mention, if you're going to do some superhero origin stories, there are other superheroes that have not had their origin stories beaten to death.
Yes. Let's go to Mars. Let's go see John Johns' city
Oh my
destroyed.
god, John Jones would be. I think that would be heart wrenching to actually see. Now the big thing is when he comes to Earth, are we doing the original or are we doing the New Age? I would suggest the New Age because the original is him coming to Earth and scaring a scientist to death, literally, because
Yeah.
the scientist finds a way to pull him through a radio frequency. Listen, the original Martian Manhunter is weird how they brought him into everything.
I mean, that's also what I'm liking about what I see about the new Fantastic Four is we're not starting with origin story.
No, like they're going to like poke at it, go, well, this is what happened, and
Right, but
continue on. But they've been doing this for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, which I like because it means we get to actually see more of their dynamic as opposed to them discovering the dynamic. You know,
And
we get to see instead of because we understand that Ben has this massive adjustment. We kind of get to see Ben come more into his own as opposed to just adjusting to being the thing.
by the way, depending on how they continue with this, and since we're starting to get X-Men in the MCU,
Notice the Franklin hint.
I already know who the major villain is next.
Oh,
Onslaught.
Hmm.
Because they've already stated that for the first Family movie, she's pregnant, and she's pregnant with Franklin.
I mean, I saw that and I was like, there's only the first person I could think of that she'd be pregnant with would be Franklin, which is the ultimate mutant reset button.
Yep. Which means with the X-Men coming in, Professor X and Magneto, we're going to get Onslaught, and we're going to get true Onslaught. So that means they're going to merge with Franklin.
I heard a fascinating rumor about a possible candidate for Magneto.
Is it the one I don't know if I know this one, but which one did you hear?
Well, because they haven't taken the time to establish the mutants yet, and it's a hard sell to find somebody that you can go, yeah, he's 80 and he uses his mutant powers to slow down his aging. I don't know if this is real, but the rumor I've heard, because we know one of the big cast members coming for Black Panther 3 is Denzel.
Mm-hmm.
There's speculation that Denzel will be a civil rights era Magneto instead of
World War II Magneto.
It would be an interesting take for sure.
It's a very interesting take because of
Yes.
Like
I'd be fine with seeing that.
I'd be okay because it's Denzel Washington. That's how I'm going to put it, because I think Denzel will do well. The hard part is because of the attrition that Magneto went through, what he initially went through, because it's World War II and he's a Jew.
He was at Auschwitz, yeah.
And a Nazi, and then he starts seeing the same thing. It's like, I see where they're trying to get a good correlation, so they have to make sure that the correlation matches with why Magneto's civil rights. They can make it. It's just I think it's a harder thing in that aspect.
I'm sure that's not what it's going to end up being. And plus, Denzel has also mentioned that he's coming to the end of his career. He's not planning on doing a whole lot more movies at this point. And a Marvel contract is going to be, to quote Deadpool, till you're 90. But like, it'll be interesting to see how that is put in, especially given in the more recent years the X-Men's thoughts on mutants versus mutates.
Mm-hmm.
Given that, like, literally, they are almost outright, like, oppressive towards mutates. Because they like to keep pointing out that Franklin Richards is a mutant, but none of the Fantastic Four are.
Yep.
Which became a problem when they were like, yeah, Franklin, you can come and live in Krakoa. We're actually going to make you live on Krakoa, and then we're just going to take you away from your family.
Yeah, but Franklin's a teenager at that point. which is
Yeah, but Sue and Reed were
not so
good.
thrilled. Yeah, not so thrilled.
I
Granted,
mean, especially given the amount of people in the MCU that fall under the mutate category. Spider-Man, Captain America, Carol Danvers, the Hulk.
yeah. Well, MCU wise, yeah, Carol Danvers.
Yeah, I mean, US Agent, Bucky, Red Guardian, Ghost.
Again, MCU
Ghost.
version of Carol Danvers, yes. Comic
Yes,
book Carol Danvers, no. Carol Danvers was Miss Marvel, and then lost her powers, and then regained her powers,
that's not
and
what a
then
mutate
became
is.
yeah. She's not a
Mutate is
mutate. She
well,
was an OG mutant, but she lost her powers not because something like she took a drug that took her powers away. No, because Rogue literally took her powers.
well, yeah, because that's Rogue. But
And it made it permanent to Rogue and permanently screwed over Carol, and then Carol gets power cosmic. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, and, now we have Kamala, who is both Inhuman and mutant.
Which I will state, I don't like that. I'd rather her have just been a straight Inhuman.
Yeah, I think it would have made more sense.
It's a better storyline, and it gives you a reason to start bringing in Inhumans. More like give us another Black Bolt, give us like the Inhumans.
Give us the universe specific Black Bolt, not the one that Wanda kills.
Technically, that was self deletion. Okay.
I mean, except for the fact that she fucking took his mouth. So
Hey,
no, that was
it's not his. It's not her fault. He screamed in his own mouth.
Well, she kind of anticipated that, I think.
I'm just saying. It was assisted self deletion.
God. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle the X-Men. I think that when it comes to the X-Men, sure, Wolverine as Hugh Jackman will continue to make sense.
We need a new Wolverine
until Hugh Jackman decided. Well, had the X-Men, they put out an X-Men film when they actually acquired the X-Men. It would have, Jackman would have been a lot more excited. He was like, had they reacquired the X-Men sooner than they did, I wouldn't have retired.
Yep.
But it'll be interesting to see who they bring on for things like Charles, for Eric, for Aurora. And then depending on who of the X-Men they choose, probably Scott, probably Jean, because that's just the classic original pairing.
We know we have Beast. Yeah.
We'll have Kelsey Grammer, and we have Alan Cumming coming back as Nightcrawler.
I'm gonna say
you have Cyclops and the original Jean, I think, coming back too.
Yeah, I think Famke Jackson's coming back.
Yes.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna bring in X-Men, and not screw him over this time. Let's get one of the best Omegas for personal reasons. Let's give me Bobby. Give me Iceman back.
Yeah. Hopefully we get him. Hopefully we get a new version of him.
Give me a good Bishop.
If we're gonna have Gambit, give me a good Rogue. I
yeah.
The pack ones go Rogue.
Yeah, she was okay. She was not great. I do want, if we're gonna have a Gambit, give us a good Rogue. We need a good Rogue. We need that Southern Belle Rogue.
Yes. Give us the damn Mahershala Ali blade. I do want to see what that looks like. Especially given that Wesley Snipes doesn't really like those movies anymore.
Yep. It'll be interesting. I don't know. It's hard to say what they're going to do.
But yeah, give us some favorites. Give us a Jubilee who's not just there as a cameo.
Yes. I mean, granted,
That was so wasted in
w-
Apocalypse.
yeah. She's
That was
been
so.
she's been wasted in 2 X-Men series. She was
'Cause I
wasted in
saw her.
Apocalypse, and she was wasted in in the original X-Men.
I saw her and I was like, oh my god, it's Jubilee and she looks right. Give us her power. Or like the other one that was kind of wasted was in the first Deadpool film, uh, Marrow.
Mara would be nice.
Because then you also open up the Morlocks as a possibility.
Granted, the original Deadpool movie, or the original, or no, not the original Deadpool, the original Wolverine movie.
Wow.
Yeah, we don't talk about that for reasons.
We don't talk about that one. No, just like there's a wealth of characters within the X-Men that can make Marvel start to become hopefully a little less stagnant feeling.
Yeah, I think they need to start getting into the mutants, and I think after Fantastic Four and Doomsday, they can start opening that up. It'll be good. It'll be a good thing. They have to play it right, because if they don't play it
Yeah,
right, it's gonna blow up in their face.
like it did for Fox.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they even jinxed themselves when they were like, I think we can agree the third movie is always the worst in the third movie, which was the worst. And granted, the fourth was even worse, but at that point we didn't know. And it was also the second time that the third movie for the X-Men was the worst. So they
No way. You can't.
I
No.
mean, because like I wouldn't mind seeing Mystique again, of course. As long as we don't start pushing the whole Mystique and Destiny and Nightcrawler and Rogue stuff, that gets a little funky. Um, I'd love to see more Emma, especially like let's do the Hellfire Club proper this time.
Let's do Emma correctly, where Magneto's not able to break her diamond form.
Yeah,
Because Magneto's
it's that.
never been able to do that.
It's Diamond. But I think it's just like first I liked X-Men First Class, but the Hellfire Club was anti-mutant.
The,
And yet you have
the Hellfire Club was all mutants that were anti-mutants that didn't stand up for mutant rights. It got a little convoluted, let's be honest, because every major member of the Hellfire Club is some sort of Omega level mutant, okay?
But that's the thing, is like then you introduce Emma and she's just like the sexy floozy as opposed to being the White Queen, which was like in her own right, she was a force to be reckoned with within the Hellfire Club, and not just despite
Yeah,
how she.
I was gonna say, yeah. Emma's like supposed to be sexy and uses sex to her power in
Yeah,
the aspects, but was not someone you fucked with, because she could break your mind, and if you really pissed her off, she just beats you to a bloody pulp.
yeah,
Not to mention, I feel bad for Tony, because that's canon now.
yeah. Well, I mean,
I feel bad for Tony. I'm also seeing here, in the background going, it should have been me.
yeah. I mean, bring some good characters and bring some good storylines. Show off more than just do the Morlocks better than the
Yes.
X-Men, the original X-Men films, because that was dumb as fuck. And the writing for Storm in those movies was terrible. I mean, Storm's one of my favorite X-Men, and I love Halle Berry as an actor. She was a bad cast for Storm. She was probably the only available cast for Storm at the time. She was a bad cast.
I was gonna say, if we're talking about casting, there's a specific woman in WWE that I think should play Storm if they allow her to go for Storm, and that is Jade Cargill.
Yeah, I mean,
Because she looks like Storm.
well, and the thing that bothers me the most, and I know it's sometimes hard to do, Storm's eyes are blue genetically.
Mm-hmm. Which is very, very not. Oh, that's extremely rare.
Exactly. Well, same with her hair. Her hair is white genetically. It's because of it's her mom's side of the family. But, on top of that, like they don't touch enough on Storm's backstory in either iteration of her so far, and it's just like she spent some time trying to survive, and then turned into a full-on goddess without Apocalypse's help on her own right because she's also an Omega level mutant.
Yep, she's one of the few that you're like, I'm not fucking with that.
No, because she doesn't even know the extent of her power. Like, but it's just like, she is so badass and she just felt so reduced. And then you got like some of the ham-fisted writing of, do you know what happens to a toad when it is struck by lightning? And it's like, she wouldn't ask rhetorical questions. She'd basically just be like, die, bitch. I mean, she would not be playing games.
No, she won't. All right, I'll go ahead and continue talking. I gotta use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
What do you think, Provo?
I honestly, I don't know who would be a good actress for Storm.
At this point, I'm trying to think.
I kind of want to agree with Kit, but at the same time, I don't watch wrestling, so I have no idea who he's talking about.
I don't either, so I can't speak to that. I'm trying to run through like my Rolodex of actresses that might be good fits for Storm, and I'm not coming up with anybody who really meets the cut at this point.
Let me see here.
Maybe she's yet to be discovered.
Let's see. Depending on what era they want to go with, what age would you expect the actress to be? Specifically, Storm.
Depends. Like, by the time Storm joins the X-Men, she's an adult. Young adult, but adult.
So, let's say mid-20s.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's see what Google gives us. Okay. Let's see, there's Storm Reed,
Yeah.
Coco Jones, Kiki Palmer, Zendaya.
Not Zendaya. Zendaya's already busy in the MCU.
That is true. Lovey Simone, Marshall Martin. Let's see. Lyric Ross. Yeah, there's a good handful that you could easily pick from. I just don't know who would make a good fit.
I mean, I don't think it'd be Kiki Palmer. She's hard to separate from her comedy work at this point.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out who would be a good cast for Storm outside of your
My
WWE.
suggestion, yeah.
If the chat has ideas, we'd be open to it too.
I'm gonna say, because Tara's gonna agree with me on that, is Jay Cargill. She literally has the entire Storm persona going.
I see what you mean.
Did you look her up?
Yes.
Yeah. Like she's very much like she could be Storm.
Yeah.
Or
like...
hear me out. James Earl Jones voice. that will be.
Except that's not possible anymore.
No, his voice though.
His voice.
If Fortnite can do it.
Yeah.
If Fortnite can do it, then
those were pre-recorded, man.
No, actually, all of it's AI. A lot of that's AI. It's
imagine
AI,
that.
and he actually him and his family agreed that to let AI be used for his voice for the role of
Yeah.
Darth Vader. So his family gets paid because you can't use the AI version of his voice without paying for
Yeah.
it. So they still
Right.
get money. Like, hey, that man was ahead of the curve. He's like, I'm about to die. You can use my voice, but you're gonna pay my family.
The only downside about it is that was the SAGFA or something like that. They're
SAG-AFTRA.
basically they're trying to sue Epic and all that for using his voice, even though
It's
they
like
have
there's a legal agreement saying that they're
Yeah.
allowed to. SAG-AFTRA is going to get there's going to be a lot less voice actors in the union here soon. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they should already be unionized, though. I mean,
I'll be
honest.
honest. A lot of those, there are some unions I'm perfectly fine with, but a lot of the voice actors unions tend to take advantage of all their voice actors, and if you
They're
are
scummy.
not, if you're not put in the time to get the thing, they
Mhm.
take advantage of 90% of their actors. And again, I'm cool with unions, but I'm not cool with how SAG-AFTRA runs their union, because people are like,
Yeah.
well, I get health benefits. You get health benefits because you've been there long enough to gain health benefits. New people that join have to
They don't
pay their dues, but they don't get shit. They don't even get
Yeah.
protection for 2 years. Like, they don't get protection for 2 years. Like, that's why I'm like, no, I don't give a fuck. You guys can sue yourselves to oblivion. If you guys were more fair and were like, no, we're going to do this, you pay your dues and you get this. Oh, you don't want to be it? Well, we're not going to go after you. Cool. But if you're not part of SAG-AFTRA and you do something, they approach you and you go, no, I don't want to. They will witch hunt you until you have no career, which
Yeah.
is not how you go about it. You they're scummy, and I know there's a lot of voice actors I know that I would be like, you just don't understand. No, I understand unions. Trust me, I do. There are some unions that are always good, but then there are unions that sit there and they're after their own pocket and only care about their top 1%. Weird.
Yeah.
It's almost like a corporation. Huh.
Huh.
Sorry.
Weird.
Not me just being mean about that.
Not you ranting. Not at all.
No, not at all. Not in the least bit.
Kit rant? No. Surely you jest.
Surely I just. It's not like I'm trying to build a series really called Rant Raven Review. Don't worry, that's coming. I just gotta finish editing that video about Netflix and having to talk to Netflix about their anime shows.
Well, I mean, speaking of movies and Netflix, that's another topic that you brought up, Chase. Is video game films.
Yeah, which I made the funny joke about. It's weird that I can use Mario as both an example of a good thing and a bad thing.
This is true. I mean,
Listen,
yeah. Go ahead.
I slightly adore the Bob Hoskins Mario movie.
Listen, it's a guilty pleasure. I even say it. I'm like, it's a horrible movie. Guilty pleasure. Horrible movie. It really is. It's like Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's a horrible movie, but it's a guilty pleasure.
Yo, you don't make fun of make fun of Killer Clowns.
I think
That's
video
my
games,
jam.
I think video games have more success right now, at least, as longer form like TV series. I mean, like, look at The Last of Us.
Last of Us
That's
did
true.
well.
With everything, the Halo TV show did really well. And even like the mini little, like,
the Halo animated, the Fall of Reach, and the movies they produced that were like the short, like 6-episode stuff really good. The Halo Paramount
fair
show
enough.
pissed off every fan
Fair
and
enough.
killed that
Hey, look,
show.
Master Chief ass.
But then also let's think about The Witcher.
The Witcher was good. I hate the fact of how much they started diverting from like the books, and that's the issue when you come down to certain things is people want to divert, and maybe you shouldn't
True.
divert.
In
But-
some ways, you shouldn't. Netflix is
But the
having that
first 3 seasons were really good. The third season really was falling apart near the end, but I think at that point Henry Cavill was done.
He was a ticking clock.
Gra-
Shane,
gra-
because we should-
Granted, go ahead.
not looking forward to Liam Hemsworth.
I don't think anyone is. I was going to say, granted, you know what did really well that wasn't specifically focused on a certain game that was amazing? Secret Level.
That's true too. Secret
Secret
did do well.
Level.
Castlevania also.
Castlevania, I even in that video, I'll even say, I say like the first 2 seasons of Castlevania killed it. Seasons 3 and 4 of the original, I had issues with, but I still enjoyed it, which is a good thing. Nocturne, season 1 was, I'm like, man, they kind of made Richter even more of a bitch than he is in the games. I actually had issues with Nocturne, and I was really hyped for Nocturne because I really like Richter as a character. So,
Well, it can't all be good. That's
no,
I loved Castlevania, but they did my boy Hector dirty.
they did. I bring that up because it's Hector and Isaac, and the fact that, granted, I also state no one played Curse of Darkness, but Curse of Darkness was a good game.
I did.
As much as no one cared for 3D Castlevania games. Another good one that they did, Arcane, was great.
Arcane was also very good.
As it got people into League of Legends, which I feel sorry for everyone that did from Arcane. I apologize. I'm sorry you had to deal with that toxicity because it's League of Legends, and the only people that like League of Legends are masochists. And then the other one I stated was amazing, Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Really,
Edge Runners, man.
Mm,
I still haven't emotionally recovered.
I still
I
haven't.
wonder you're forgetting one here, Kit. Fallout.
Oh, Fallout. Well, Fallout wasn't Netflix. Fallout was Amazon.
Well, sure, but I'm talking.
Amazon, I
Fallout
still
was
need to see that.
Fallout was. If you haven't, Fallout really is a good one. And of course they didn't follow any specific game storyline. They went with just, hey, this is just another Fallout game, just in a show form, which
The only
worked out
thing I
perfect.
know about that,
Well, it's not
the only
in
thing I
season
know
4.
about Fallout is that I've heard that it pissed off New Vegas fans because it retcons New Vegas out of the timeline.
It kind of does, but New Vegas was never canon in the games, which I feel bad for because I really like New Vegas. New Vegas is the best. I agree. New Vegas is the best. Fallout, don't come at me, but come at me because I love it.
I agree too. But
So if we're talking
Three's still
Netflix,
good.
then I haven't seen this yet, but Kit, what about Devil May Cry?
That's what that entire video is about because I fucking shit on it.
Oh, okay.
oh no.
Oh, listen, I will state this without a doubt. If you are not a fan of Devil May Cry, this show is good. It's like, it will get you into Devil May Cry. 100% it will get you into Devil May Cry. If you are a fan, you will be pissed off at every waking moment of this show. It makes Dante not so great. It fucks over Lady. They give us literally bosses from every fucking Devil May Cry game. They make reference to another character from Devil May Cry 2, and they fuck over Virgil's storyline, and it's
How about the original? Okay. How about the original Devil May Cry anime though?
That one was actually kind of fun. It's still not great, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Again, the Netflix one, if you're not a fan, it's really good. And I watched it. I was like, this isn't horrible. there are some they did the thing that I don't like, which is, hey, we're gonna take modern day politics and social issues and we're gonna put it in our show because we want you to feel sympathy for demons and devils.
Yippee.
Because
This is why I'm concerned, given that
reasons.
Netflix has the rights to both Horizon Zero Dawn, I think, if I remember right,
I
and
think
the
they do.
Bioshock film. And
Hmm.
like, as much as they've confirmed, like, I like the person they've picked as the director for Bioshock, which is Francis Lawrence.
I
But
feel like that's actually going to be a saving grace right there.
yeah, except for the fact that like apparently they've also cut massively into the budget for the Bioshock films.
That's going to screw over Mass Effect. Or that's going to screw it over.
Screw it over because you're under the fucking sea in an Art Deco city. You kind of need the budget.
Yeah, and not to mention the big daddies. Where are you going to do CG them? And CG is going
Big
to cost
Daddies,
more.
I mean, you can practical effect most of the splicers, most, not all, and you can practical effect the little sisters to an extent. But like,
Look, if they need a cheap Big Daddy actor, I'll do it.
Literally, just put a man in a big suit. Call it good.
I could be a lumbering, non-talking, mindless creature.
also, thanks, Danny.
Yeah, I've been trying not to like. That Kayla's got her spiffy glasses. I've got my aviators on. You know, she's got the infinity symbol going on there. You know,
It's not. It's just one. It's not a full infinity. It's very wicked coded.
even Secret loves them. No, like honestly, like you could get away with it even if you cut the budget. If you do practical effects, especially with the
Yeah.
Big Daddy, you don't have to like. Where do you CG Big Daddies? You CG the drill.
Yeah.
You CG the eyes, and even then you don't have to. You just CG to lessen the glare from or the lumen coming from like a flat. You put flashlights in there and do it, and then you cut out that and just give the glow from the flashlights. That's a lot easier and a lot cheaper than full CGing a Big Daddy.
To be fair, if they want to cut back on the amount of eyes, they could just go Delta series.
Seriously, yeah, the
Big
single
Daddy.
eye, right? That's the single eye, the single big eye.
That'd be perfect. Yeah, it's the Big Daddy you play as in Bioshock 2.
Yeah, they can easily do that. And yeah, like with Horizon, Horizon should be fine. Just depending on if their budget on that one. Horizon Zero Dawn should be fine.
I can list a move. See, the way I am with video game movies is I think I think animation is the way to go for most of them, because if you notice, most of the video game movies or adaptations that do good are animated.
Mhm.
I can point one out right now because I'm just messing around on it while we're talking. The Animal Crossing film in Japan did amazing, and guess what? That was animated.
Yep, I will say.
Right, and also works for
Yeah.
Animal Crossing.
I will say, like in that sense, the one that kind of, again, thanks to the internet, we bullied Paramount on this one. Sonic was amazing. The 3 Sonic movies that have been out have each been amazing and have done well. Even if you put in a human actor and put it next to CG, it's done well. They did really well with them.
Yeah.
With that said, it's hard to do live action on a lot of these. And
I want to say the point I was getting to though is here's a better example. The Dead Space movies, the animated ones. Those are actually really good. They could easily do a BioShock. They could easily do a BioShock like that. Hey, I like that. I like garbage. Okay, that's fine with me. I like garbage. But no, jokes aside, they could. They could easily make Kit. The fact that you're cradling the best Dead Space makes me happy.
You know, it's the best part about this Dead Space right here in my arms. I
Mhm.
didn't pay a dime for it.
Go to the corner.
This was a gift
Go
from
to
EA.
the fucking corner, kid. Go.
But no, I think given proper respect to the source material, a BioShock animated movie could be good.
Yeah,
You could.
I would prefer a live action with a nice budget, but if budget really is an issue,
Well,
get someone on board
We will
who
find out. I mean, obviously, Francis Lawrence is a little busy right now with Sunrise on the Reaping, so we may not hear. We're supposed to hear some sort of Bioshock related news this summer, whether that's the film or Bioshock 4. But we will be seeing something at some point. I wish we could have seen it like way back in the day when it was like what was it? It was like Gore, it was like the Gore Verbinski, I think it was, who was attached to it originally or something like that. The guys who did the original Pirates of the Caribbean film.
I just wish that the Vita BioShock never got canceled.
yeah, same. I will say this. Again, we've got like a good like plethora of video game movies and shows that are good or bad. Let's go ahead. I'm going to straight up say a bad one because, well, its newest game got released. Doom. Not just Doom, Doom and Doom Annihilation. And I know no one's watched Doom Annihilation because I
I
haven't
didn't
watched
know it
it.
existed.
Well, I mean, another bad one. That game came out rather recent. A new game came out rather recently. Assassin's Creed.
Yo, listen, I love what's his name?
Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, I love Michael Fassbender. He was great, and he's probably the only redeeming moment of Prometheus and Alien Covenant. But he couldn't save that movie.
House of the Dead.
Well, okay, listen. That director because he also directed Blood Rain. There's the same director.
I don't trust Uwe Boll. That's all.
No one trusts Uwe Boll.
I don't think.
If you want to see tits in the movie, trust Uwe Boll, but don't trust him otherwise than that.
That is fair.
I mean,
Monster
Hunter.
Oh.
Or the rest. Listen, I love Mia. I love her.
That movie hurt me.
Monster Hunter. Or you know what hurt more than Monster Hunter? Even though Monster Hunter was atrocious, the Resident Evil movies with Mia.
Ugh. Warcraft. Ooh.
Warcraft wasn't bad. Warcraft was literally, if you didn't know lore of Warcraft, it was a bad movie. I will state that. If you weren't a fan of Warcraft, that movie was atrocious. Because I went in, I was a huge lore nerd. I went with a buddy who knew Warcraft, but wasn't a huge nerd, but knew some of the stuff. And then I went with the ex-wife, her, who knew nothing about Warcraft. And we walked out. I'm like, that was actually a really good movie. They did really well. He's like, yeah, it wasn't too bad. And she's like, I was lost the entire time. What the fuck's about green magic? I'm like, okay, yeah. So if you're not a fan, you would not know anything. If you're a fan, you'd be like, okay, it's not bad. If you're a lore junkie, it's a really good movie. But a lot of this, let me bring this up because I know Provo will. I'm expecting an aneurysm from you, Provo.
Okay.
Because we know of two things. One's going to be an aneurysm. Could be. A24 and Bandai Namco are teaming up to produce a Elden Ring movie.
Uh-huh.
And then Nintendo's next feature film, which will be live action, is The Legend of Zelda.
I'm done. Look, you don't fuck with my series. I hate Nintendo so much for that. I was hoping you would not have brought that back up. I finally forgot that existed. And then next thing you know, no, I'm done. Nintendo, I goodbye, Nintendo.
Okay, so what would be the saving grace? because I have one thing idea in my head that's a saving grace for that movie, but Provo, what's a saving grace? What could be a saving grace for that movie? What could
Link
they?
doesn't talk.
Okay, that's where I was going. If Link sits there and he's doing stuff, and you just hear yeah, and then people turn to, oh, hey, how's it going, Link? How's it going? Cool. Hey, so we heard this. And if he doesn't say anything the entire movie, but everyone hears him talking, I think would be okay. We'll be fine.
It'd be a glorious mess, and I would watch that. But if Link even says a single word, Nintendo, I
No.
swear you made a lifelong enemy.
Another video game movie that came out recently and got some mixed reviews, although I've talked to somebody who really kind of liked it, Until Dawn.
I haven't watched it yet because I'm afraid to watch it because everything
It's not anything like the game.
that's why I've saw like the trailers from it. It seems like they're just repeating. It's like a weird Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, it's basically
It's a
that.
fucked
So
up Groundhog's Day.
They eliminate the Wendigo plotline from what it sounds like, and it's just a horror Groundhog Day, which we've seen with like Happy Birthday to You and some others, and they're setting it in a similar place to Until Dawn, but it's a whole new cast of characters. So I fail to see how it connects. It's kind of like the problem that we had with Assassin's Creed, where this wasn't, like this wasn't an Ezio character. This wasn't even a character attached to Desmond at the time. We just got this brand new character, and it's like, I mean, sure, it doesn't have to be Desmond and Ezio just for lore's sake,
Or
but-
Connor or Altair.
right? But it should have more connection than what it did.
Yeah, Seeker, it's not. It's Until Dawn in name.
Yeah, like although they call it, they're like, yeah, no, it's based off a video game, and I'm like, the fuck it is.
It's like Final Fantasy Spirits Within. It's a good movie, but it's not Final Fantasy. It's a Final Fantasy.
Well, that's just it. It's
thing
getting
by
mixed
name.
reviews. Nobody really thinks it's a very original premise. Because it's like that's not the way that it worked for the game. The game
No.
wasn't about Groundhog Day. The game was about the butterfly effect.
It's about I do this and now so and so dies.
Right, I do this, and now there's a massive repercussion. Whether it's somebody dies or not, there's a massive repercussion that comes down the line because I didn't do it.
That game gave me an aneurysm trying to get everyone out alive.
What, you didn't
That's
like wait, you didn't like doing this for like 5 minutes straight? Shit. Holding
I
your
hated
controller
it.
still.
I hated it.
That getting everyone to escape at that last bit where you're just holding your controller still and your hands are starting to shake because it's like it's a pound and a half, but a pound and a half, and it's like 15 minutes of you just like
right.
holding it. Your hands start shaking. You're like,
hold anything still for long enough, and your hand's gonna start to shake. And it was which I think is a brilliant mechanic at that point. Not unlike some of the stuff we're working on, Kit.
I know. I've
where-
been alluding to that during streams.
Yeah, no, like getting to work on mechanics that are a bit out of the box and utilizing, the motor in that way inside the controller was kind of really smart. Like I can't even watch playthroughs of Until Dawn and expect to sleep at night, so I can't actually attempt to play it because that'll be even worse.
I was gonna say you want nightmare reduced and just play Alien Isolation. Okay.
Yeah, no.
That's-
Handle Until Dawn. I'm not going to try handling Alien Isolation. Thank you. I'll watch Markiplier suffer through things. I'll watch Eddie VR suffer through things and whatnot. I'll watch
you watch me suffer through things, yeah, and mock me.
Yes, I mock you. Especially, I was telling Provo it was a lot fun. It was a lot more fun when I lived with you, and I was working and you were streaming and you start screaming. I would message you going, I could smell the ocean coming from the basement.
She brought up another really, really bad movie, and there was a sequel to this one, Silent Hill. There was a sequel to it too.
I wish Sushi didn't bring that up.
You have to do the ending with the dog.
But by the way, fun fact about Silent Hill. It's one of the first movies that Why am I forgetting his name?
How much you-
The lead house for Stark, Boromir.
Oh, Boromir. Know his name. John Bean. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean Bean. Yeah, Sean Bean didn't die in that movie, by the way, and he's actually
Oh,
he's a lead character in that movie.
probably one of
He's
the
a
few
lead
times-
character in two too, and he didn't die in that one. Granted,
but-
I struggled to get through the sequel of Silent Hill. I am not going to lie. I watched Silent Hill, the second Silent Hill movie, and fought with every fiber of my body to shut it off. The only other couple of movies that I've done that to is Tekken and King of Fighters.
Oh, you
Well-
mean you didn't like Tekken?
The Tekken live action? Absolutely
I-
not. Tekken Bloodlines wasn't bad. Wasn't good, but it wasn't bad.
In fairness, too, though, for Sean Bean, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, even The Martian, where he gets fired at the end, they all kind of make up for the fact that he doesn't die in Silent Hill.
Equilibrium. He had the saddest death in Equilibrium, by the way.
Mm.
I will also say Sean Bean's died so much that he got into a fight and got stabbed and patched himself up. That is an actual fact of Sean Bean. He got in a fight at a bar, got stabbed, knocked the guy out, and patched himself up while waiting for the ambulance. And the ambulance went, "Oh, you're fine. You'll be fine. Well, let's just clean up this wound and clean up the stitches, but you'll be fine." He's like, "Yeah, I know." Like, how? I die in every movie. I know how to patch myself up. It's
Well, and
like,
in
what the
fairness,
fuck?
too, for the Lord of the Rings, he didn't want to fly in the helicopter, so he would hike up to the location
Yep.
every day.
Sean Bean's I love him.
I think my favorite thing with Sean Bean is whenever I watch The Martian and they get to the point where it's the Council of Elrond scene, and they're like, why is this called Elrond? And he's the first one to pipe in, goes, because it's a secret meeting. It's like, you would know, wouldn't you?
But yeah, like again, there are Netflix does good things, and there are some good anime or movies that are based and shows based off of games.
Yeah.
There's just as much, if not more, bad ones too, because there are a lot of
Well,
oh
you're talking about really interactive media then being reduced down to just being watched media. I mean, and let's just look at if you look at some of the bigger games like Horizon Zero Dawn, just the cutscenes alone, and with some gameplay, like when Gamers Little puts together like the full game movie of all the cutscenes and some gameplay just to help you progress story, it's like a 9-hour film.
it's a three movie saga. It's fine.
Right. But well, and that's just it. Is like for HDD, then you're talking about like 9 movies once it's said and done, because we have Forbidden West and there's at least a third one coming. But it's just like it's the amount of gameplay. It's so much editing that has to be done, and if you don't do it right, and if you don't, pay attention to who you put in the main roles, if you don't pay attention to setting or backstory, you could piss off everybody.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Again,
You can make that same comment on books, but
yeah,
Books
that's a
are-
completely different. That's a
Right.
completely different topic.
books
I-
there's the imagined perception of what everything is, as opposed to games where there is a actual concrete visual that we've gotten used to over 40, 50, 60
Yeah.
plus hours.
I will state this, Probo. You want to hear something that will really make me hate Nintendo? I mean, I'm already like on edge with them, anyways. Yeah, go ahead, Nintendo. Give me a Metroid movie.
Oh no.
You won't do it.
No.
You won't
please
do it.
don't. No.
Because I know they'll
don't.
fuck up Samus, because we already seen what happens when you give someone creative rights to write a Samus and people don't like it. Other M. Listen, I love Elden, but yeah, there are some writing things in that entire game that I'm like, okay, I'm just getting through this. And I have no doubt that they won't do Samus right at all. You can let Samus talk, but you're going to do her wrong. And you're going to do Ridley wrong, and you're going to cause no one to like that movie. Because unless Ridley strikes fear in Samus and you give like which again, Other M did it right, where it gives you the brief glimpse of Samus thinking she's a kid again and seeing Ridley walk out of the fire after her mom dies. It's going to be really hard. And that even doubles the trauma because she already killed Ridley at that point in the game. So,
a video game movie that has done really well, and I understand it practically, but it baffles me nonetheless.
what?
Minecraft.
I have not watched it.
I understand why it's doing really well because it's appealing to younger generations. Speaking as someone who, as you know, used to get hopelessly lost in Minecraft.
We spent like literally 4 hours one day just doing nothing, playing Minecraft at the house at one point in time.
No, we would spend more than that because we had a shared server between the roommates.
Oh yeah, we did. No, we spent like 8 hours one day. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Because we were building all of our like layers and shit. But just all those times I would play Minecraft on my own on like my laptop, and would get hopelessly like I'd build a house, I hadn't built a bed yet, and I'd get hopelessly lost or I'd die and could not find my way back after hours of building a house. And like, I don't know if it was really you or if it was Spaz or the ex-wife who would just be looking over my shoulder going, "Oh my god, what have you done to yourself?" But like, it's just that game never screamed movie to me. Let alone like Jack Black is not Steve. I'm sorry. I like Jack Black. I do. He's not Steve.
But he said he was.
No. That's not Steve.
Yeah, but Chicken
Like-
Rider.
Yeah, chicken jockey.
Jockey, I think that is the dumbest fucking thing, and I feel so bad for all of the movie personnel.
You and me both.
Yeah.
Movie, like that's just dumb. It's like I'm sorry. I understand cheering when things are super exciting, obviously, because we had that in Endgame. Like I understand it. I Deadpool and Wolverine, Spider-Man No Way Home. I can understand cheering and being super involved, right? I cannot understand spending money, shit ton of money on super expensive movie popcorn just to throw it all over the floor to make somebody else clean up.
Or bring a live chicken in.
Does that actually happen?
I've
Yes,
seen a
because
few instances where people
Gen
brought live
Zers
chickens
one
in.
up each other.
Listen, this is a movie theater, not your personal home.
No, you're still out in public. There's still a level of etiquette that you should at least have, especially in a movie theater. Like, if you're going with the sure, again, sometimes it's that hive mind or that the mob mentality, like in Endgame, like in Deadpool, Wolverine, etc. I don't understand it for Chicken Jockey.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen some pretty dumb shit in my life. So.
Yeah, true. I mean, we're all dumb teens
I'm
at
sure,
some point in time.
I'm sure my nephew really loves the Minecraft movie, but in fairness, my nephew just turned 8.
I was gonna say the child loved it, but he was actually more happy, and he gave actual legitimate criticism of FNAF.
Yeah, FNAF. That was also one. I mean, I know like a lot of people were super disappointed that Mark wasn't in it. It's like Mark's busy, man. Mark was trying to get out.
There were scheduling conflicts. That's the issue.
Yeah,
as an old man, as an old man, which I'm really not an old man, but still, as an old man, seeing Matthew Lillard made me so fucking happy as a big Scream fan.
I think well, especially given like Matthew Lillard kind of made it big, Scream, and then a Shaggy, and then kind of disappeared for a bit. Like voice-wise, he's been doing really well because he's now like the voice of Shaggy for life.
Mhm.
pretty much. Yeah.
But then there's things like he showed up for a second in the Twin Peaks sequel, which I need to go back and rewatch the original show, but that's always a hard swallow. Like, but then and then he started his own board game company. But yeah, to get to see him come and be the villain for FNAF was really kind of cool. But I think FNAF suffers from the fact that there's game canon, there's books canon, and now there's movie canon.
Yeah.
It's
already
being
got
pulled
3
in so
different
many
canons.
directions.
But
Minimum.
by the way, like whenever I think of Matthew Lillard is either Scooby or his role in 13 Ghosts.
I just think of.
Oh, I forgot he was in that.
He's the quote unquote he's the guy that's helping them out throughout most of it and then gets killed by the muscle ghost. By the way, rumors are that he will be in Scream 7.
That doesn't surprise me.
Because the villains never really die.
Nope. But yeah, I think FNAF suffered from the fact that it's just yeah, it's super popular, but it just has too many canons at this point that you're just I have no idea what the fuck I'm looking at.
I will say this as someone who wasn't a fan of the movies or the games or the books. I actually enjoyed the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Well,
It was good. I'm not gonna lie, it was just good.
I'm excited for the sequel.
It's fan service.
Let's see what.
That's a movie that's purely done as fan service, and it was done well enough that it got itself a sequel.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with fan service movies, I say as I think about going to see the final Downton Abbey movie.
That's okay. We were talking about this earlier. I just pulled up, popular video game movies. Shows Gamer, which is not based off of any game, a Minecraft
It had
movie.
Hunger Games too.
Yeah. Ready Player One, which is based off of a book, not a video game. It's got video game references.
Yeah.
The Hunger Games. Sonic.
That's because AI is stupid.
Yeah. Sonic. Wreck-It Ralph. Okay. Has a lot of video game references. The game. Jumanji. Board game. Which was based off of a movie, by the way. Free Guy. Video game references. Pixel. Video game references. Borderlands. Let's just avoid that one because that one was.
You mean greatest movie of all time?
Yeah, that movie. Listen, I like Borderlands. I love the first game. I love the second game. That movie was. Yeah. Okay. You know what's only slightly better than Borderlands? This next movie that I'm looking at, Street Fighter.
I was gonna say Street Fighter. Another one we haven't talked about. Lara Croft.
Oh man.
Which version?
So happy.
First Angelina and then Alicia Vikander.
Yeah, Alicia wasn't bad. Lara Croft was campy. It's hard to say that it was horrible, but it was not good. It was super campy. I'm not gonna lie about that one. Oh yeah, there was a Hitman movie too.
It was weird because it had Timothy Oliphant. It's why would you shave Timothy Oliphant's gorgeous hair? No. And there was, of course, Prince of Persia, which just was awful.
Yeah, that one wasn't good. Oh yeah, that's right. There was a Need for Speed movie. I keep forgetting about that. I never watched that because I knew it was going to be trash.
You know what? I'm surprised it hasn't had a movie adaptation yet, considering how popular the series is for some unknown reason. Call of Duty.
It kind of falls into that. I mean, it does have I know it does have a plot, but I think that's just you're kind of crossing into both into movies about war too. So
that's where it's hey, you want a Call of Duty movie? Go watch a movie that deals with war.
Nothing will beat Saving Private Ryan.
No, absolutely not. Well, Fury's a really close second.
Fury, Midway, Saving Private Ryan. Those are my top 3 war movies.
Obviously, there's 3 movies about this. There's about to be 4, but the third and fourth movie are their own separate timelines. Mortal Kombat.
That's right.
Mortal Kombat, man.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and then Mortal Kombat 20 whatever 2019 2020
They,
2021 something like that.
if there's one series I can think of that can't keep its timeline straight, it's Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat's like, hey, we're going to do Mortal Kombat 1 through whatever 8 was. I don't remember what it is game wise. And they're like 9. 9's going to reset the timeline. Then we're going to have 10 and 11, and then Mortal Kombat 1, which is a complete new reset of the timeline. But they're all in the same timeline, but they're not part of the same timeline because we're going to restart. But state that because 9 Raiden knows everything that happened in the original 8 games.
Mm-hmm.
And then he explains it, and then Liu Kang dies, and then 10 and 11 happens, and 11 Liu Kang gets brought back, and then also still knows what happened in the original 8 games, and then knows what happened in 9, 10, 11, and then 1 happens, which is he knows everything that's happened, but is trying to stop everything from happening again in its own different timeline, but he controls time. But he doesn't control all the universe's times because there's separate universes. You're starting to make Final Fantasy VII look like it makes sense. Okay.
There's a movie series we're ignoring here. It's a big one. Pokemon.
Oh,
Pokemon has always had between the series. Okay, listen, Pokemon's the only reason why companies expect 20 years of experience from an 18-year-old, okay? Because, you can become the Pokemon champion after 25 years experience and still be 10 years old. Everyone's going to love you, okay?
Look, oh my God. Another movie we've forgotten, but it's because it's only loosely could be considered a video game at this point, I think. Angry Birds.
Mobile games are technically video games, but
Angry Birds.
I mean,
I remember when that was big for a few years.
Yep. No, I
gone.
said, I'm going through this. I see War Games, and War Games only had Tic Tac Toe. That's not a video game movie. Oh.
You looking on Wikipedia, or are you looking through the Google AI?
I'm looking through the Google AI, and I just saw something that made me.
Oh no.
Y'all remember Stay Alive?
I do. I just saw the movie that, personally, I think is worse than Dragon Ball Evolution.
Uh-oh.
That being?
Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li.
I think Kit's having an aneurysm more than I did with the Zelda thing.
I think he is.
I'm sure Edge is probably still here. We saw that. We saw Dragon Ball Evolution, and we're kind of excited, but we were so hyped because we love Dragon Ball that we ignored how bad it was. But Street Fighter, we got out of Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li, and we could not praise it. We couldn't even find the heart to praise it. It was. How do you make Vega an ugly guy? How do you take literally Liu Kang from the Mortal Kombat movies and make him the most useless character? How do you take someone who is literally... How do you make Chun-Li useless and she's the main fucking character?
It's okay, Kit. Let it out.
Just breathe.
Think happy thoughts, buddy.
At least, sir, the 2 movies next from that is Double Dragon. The movie to the left of it was DOA, which is just as bad. Listen, Double Dragon was horrible. It's horrible. It's good because it's that bad. DOA and Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li, you could pay me $1 billion and I would still sit there and go, yeah, fuck off. They're
Remember when Double Dragon became a fighting game?
I do, actually.
But man, Kit, I'm so sorry you had to be reminded of those movies.
I scrolled down and I saw Street Fighter. I'm like, Street Fighter. And I'm like,
The funniest part is when you mentioned the Tekken movie, I was going to mention, okay, how about DOA? But
It was
glad I
right
didn't.
there.
I'm glad I didn't.
The worst part is like Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li. The main actress was Lana Lang from the CW series of Smallville.
Rage. The rage.
It's okay, Kit.
And then Rock did that movie, Rampage. That's actually based off of a game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very loosely.
And I was like, wow, okay. I mean, and then like I have opened up like the Wikipedia list also has a list of like upcoming releases.
Mhm.
So like Exit 8.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Yeah.
how?
Exit 8. I don't fucking know.
Next
Okay.
you're gonna tell me observation duty's gonna have a game.
No, but here's the ones that are upcoming with a date. Exit 8, August of this year. Mortal Kombat 2, October of this year. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, December of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Another Resident Evil film in September of next year. It's untitled, so I don't know more about that. Sonic 4 in 2027. And of course, the one that shall not be named in 2027. I will not let. I will not give anyone more aneurysms. And then it has like the undated ones and the in development ones. And I ask questions about some of these because I'm like, what? Like obviously we know for undated long.
I know actually one of the undated ones that I'm looking
yeah?
at, Street Fighter.
Yes.
We do know of speaking of WWE, Roman Reigns is going to be part of that. There's a few other people that are going to. They already actually have people casted, but no one knows who they're casted as.
Oh, well,
And
that's
I
nice.
saw someone say, "Oh, Roman Reigns, Akuma."
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the whole Exit 8 thing.
I am too. But seriously, Roman Reigns. Okay, listen, I'm Filipino. I know I'm a little light skinned for Filipinos, but it's fine. Listen, Filipinos are the same like the rest of the Polynesians. We get fairly dark skinned. I get that. Akuma is fucking Japanese. Don't fucking do it.
Oh, just imagine. Just imagine.
Yeah. In addition
Roman
to
Reigns. My name is. I forgot his name. I don't
Goki?
care anymore. Yeah, my name is Goki.
Listen.
So in addition, So in addition to Iron Lung and Street Fighter, there's a Return to Silent Hill and a Watch Dogs movie.
Ubisoft, do you really want to keep taking that whole? Sorry, what?
Oh, you're gonna have to tell me what like the ones that are even further that are in
Oh,
development.
I already see on the first one I see on that one is Bending the Ink Machine.
Right?
The second, the second one is going to be very interesting and can be ruined very quickly. Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
If they ruin that movie, I swear to God. I haven't
mean,
even played the game yet, and I'm already pissed at them ruining that movie.
You've
I
seen.
don't know how they're gonna do Dead by Daylight.
Oh yeah, Untitled Dead by Daylight film. They would
gonna be a
have to
slasher flick.
they'd have to do a slasher flick
no
based off of one of the
I think-
slashers.
I think they could easily. Nah, that cost a lot of money. I was gonna say they could easily take a couple of the big name killers
You know, it's
and
a weird
that.
one. Apparently, Sony's making
What?
Just
I'm
Dance.
afraid. Just Dance.
It's a movie.
You know what?
It could actually work. The one that's really okay. There's two right now that I'm looking that one confuses me. The other one, if you don't have a certain person working on this, it's going to be bad. So the one that confuses me is an untitled Crossfire film. And if you don't know what Crossfire is, I suggest you look at Crossfire back from the 90s. The one that if you don't have a certain person working on this film, you're going to fail. Death Stranding.
Yeah, you need Norman Reedus.
No, if
Norman
you don't
Reedus
have
or Bucky
Kojima,
Fetus.
if you don't have
Oh, yeah, I do
Kojima,
know
if
Kojima
you
as
do
well.
not have Kojima, you will ruin that movie. You could have
fair.
Norman there, and he's going to slightly save it. But if you don't have Kojima working on it, you're going to ruin it because there's a madness to this man's method, and it never makes sense, except for him.
Fair.
Duke Nukem, by the way.
Excuse me.
Yeah, untitled Duke Nukem film.
Also, an untitled Ghost Recon film.
And an untitled Firewatch film.
Helldivers.
That's another one that you have to do it right. Ghost of Tsushima.
You know what I think would make a good animated adaptation
What's up?
for the Capcom fans? Ghost Trick.
That would be a good one. Here's one that this needs to be animated. If you do this live action, I'm going to hate you, Sony. Gravity Rush.
It's gotta be animated.
It
If
has
it's a
to
live
be.
action, I'm done. I'm already done with Nintendo as is.
And of course, Poppy Playtime movie. I mean, that could actually be.
It
done
could
well.
work. Yeah.
It could work. I
Now,
can't.
mean, they just have to. They have to nip in the bud the problem that they had, where all of a sudden Huggy Wuggy was getting marketed to kids.
Yeah.
Like the fact that my nephew, who's 8, like knows who Huggy Wuggy is and thinks he's cool, and I have to sit there and I'm like, he knows he's a monster, but I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, I don't think that's a smart plan that an 8-year-old should be a big fan of Huggy Wuggy at this stage.
But by the way, the unfortunate part is Gravity Rush is in development, but is not under the animated. By the way, here's
Animated doesn't have an in development category.
Yeah, here's a couple weird ones. Space Channel 5. And
Unless it's a
then
musical.
yeah, and then a new House of the Dead with the director of Paul W.S. Anderson.
Oh, great! So Mila Jovovich is gonna be there. Got it.
Yeah, which means no G. Hello. Sorry.
I think another one that's kind of interesting is Hello Neighbor.
That game kind of just came and went, and it turned out to be like, how did it become so big? Like I've seen so many people cover that game, and so many people are like, "Yeah, this is basically a scam you pay for."
That might be why. Oh, that's another game that might need some Kojima influence. Metal Gear.
Yep. The hard part is getting Kojima and Konami to come to terms, which that's not gonna happen.
No. J.J. Abrams making a Portal film.
No, I'm sorry. No. 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 Because he'd make sure that the cake isn't a lie, okay?
Lots of lens flare. It might actually be appropriate for Aperture, though.
The law of lens flare would be appropriate. I think he'd actually put too much of lens flare in that, but that's besides the point.
Get Michael Bay there. Excessive explosions as well.
No, Michael Bay's busy doing the Ghost Recon film.
I'm
Okay,
shocked.
that makes sense. Okay.
I'm shocked. Not really.
Color Provo's surprised.
It's like
Yeah.
Split Fiction got popular enough that it's going to get a film. With
Split
John
Fiction?
Anderson.
Yeah.
Once he's finished with his wicked victory lap.
Yeah, y'all want a good review of Split Fiction? Go talk to Fluff or Sushi. They both suffered through that game.
Outlast, by the way, is another one. The Mortuary Assistant is another one.
Outlast could work as a found footage movie.
It could. But The Mortuary Assistant.
Hmm.
And all right.
That
Yeah. Yeah.
could maybe work. I would say that would also have to be a found footage movie to an extent somehow,
So
just to make it a little, spoopier.
okay, so The Elden Ring, so we do have a director or a direction, which is Alex Garland. So Elden Ring is going to be directed by Alex Garland, produced by A24. Of course, Bandai Namco's behind it. So
You know what they could do with that movie, just to really piss off some people?
just make it about Millennia. I mean, what?
Yeah. That would totally no. Do what the manga did. Be a comedy.
That would be hilarious. Listen, if they're doing anything with that, and if they just kind of do it in sections, which I think would be a better thing, the best way to end one of the films is they show the movie, you get to the end of the movie, and the mid-credits scene is you just see a sword and you hear the phrase, "I'm Melania, blade of Mikola, and I have never known defeat." And then cut it, and everyone would be like, "Nope, we're done. We're done."
I would rage quit right there.
Most iconic lines in the past few years that makes people go, "Nope, no, nah. I'm good. I'm just gonna go this way. Fuck
80
off."
tries, by the way. 80 tries it took me. I'm bad at Soulsborne games.
I was gonna say you don't want to know my attempt amount.
I'm looking at upcoming video game TV shows. On the animated side, there's Among Us.
Among Us, we already know.
Among Us.
They already announced the cast for that too.
We gotta play some more Among Us, Kit.
We do.
I'm gonna watch that out of sheer curiosity.
It's supposed to, like, from everything everyone's been saying, like how they've been directing it, it's supposed to be like a pure comedy. So
that would make sense.
If it's not, you're doing it wrong.
We need an animated adaptation of Lockdown now.
Oh my god, that'd be hilarious.
Final Fantasy IX is getting an animated TV show.
Isn't that supposed to be a kid? Wasn't it confirmed to also be a kid's cartoon?
Yes, it's going to be like almost a kid's cartoon, which is completely, by the way, it destroys the entire point of Final Fantasy IX, because Final Fantasy IX is dealing with death and how you deal with death.
Oh, good.
So it's a kid show about death.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah. I forgot. That's Kit's favorite Final Fantasy.
There's Kingdom Hearts is also getting an animated show.
Ugh.
Which obviously Disney's heavily involved.
Oh, what? No way. You don't say.
Disney? No. Disney would never. No.
So, we'll see how that goes. And then look at upcoming live action shows. Assassin's Creed. I think I knew that one. On Two Souls. Disco Elysium.
I'm surprised there hasn't been a heavy rain.
By the way, I gotta smack the producer and director of Disco Elysium.
Oh no, you do.
because of a specific reason. Search
Yes.
Kitsuragi on the internet. It's not me. I had the
What?
name first, motherfuckers.
Looks like there's also going to be a live action Final Fantasy show. I don't have anything more than that.
I
God of War
worry.
one?
Wait, which one?
God
Oh,
of
God of War. Yeah, God of War.
That could be worrisome. Hunt Showdown.
Okay, I want to know how they expect to make multiplayer focused games into a. You know what?
Just-
Have fun.
yeah, that's weird. Life is Strange. Getting a TV show.
That's another one that they have to do it right because that's a butterfly in time affecting
it's
one.
just like this next one they also got to do right, and it's Mass Effect.
Hire me. Hire me. Trust me.
That's because you worked on one of them.
That's besides the point. Hire me.
Listen, we all know Kit just wants to direct the alien sex scenes.
I'm not going to say no to that, but
Not talk about the fact that some of those scenes involve allergic reactions.
listen,
Oh.
I'm going to say if I were to direct it, it wouldn't be Mel Shep. It'd be Fem Shep. Because I think Fem Shep
That's
just
why I
makes
bring
more
up-
sense.
That's why I bring up allergic reactions. Let's see. Plague Tale. See that working. Skull and Bones. Steins Gate. System Shock. Tomb Raider.
Ooh, System Shock. I'm happy with that one.
I think we've gotten confirmation of who's playing Laura for the new Tomb Raider 2.
And
Wait.
Vampire.
Did you say Steins Gate?
Yeah, Steins Gate
Yes.
as in that's an anime turned into a game
but-
game or a
Yeah.
game anime turned into a game turned back into an anime now turned back into a game into a TV show. Steins Gate's weird. Okay, listen, there's no way that they're gonna make it work because it's weird. And
Steins Gate Zero was depressing.
it is. It's very depressing. It's very good. I suggest everyone watch the original Steins Gate because you'll love it. And then by the episode 12, you're going to be sitting there going, "What the fuck am I watching? Expedition 33?"
All I can say is if you watch Steins Gate, watch it subbed because there's a joke in there that only works if
in
it's
in
subbed.
Japanese. Yeah, if it's only in Japanese.
All I can say is I am a mad scientist.
I am
son of a
mad
bitch."
scientist, some bitch. You're like,
Oh man.
what's another? That I don't think that movie's ever coming out. By the way,
One?
Dragon Slayer. That was
See.
announced like 7 years ago.
Yeah, well, so was Bioshock was like announced like 15 years ago.
Good point.
Yeah.
The big thing is Don Bluth is still heading that one, which makes sense because he.
Trailer go into theaters.
Did that Splinter Cell movie ever happen?
I don't think it did.
Because I remember I was like a kid when they were advertising a Splinter Cell movie, and I don't think it ever happened. Now I'm kind of sad because I like Splinter Cell.
Yeah,
It's definitely interesting to see how these get done.
It will 100%. There are still. It's gonna be interesting to see how many people sit there and go, "Oh, that was really good," and then other people go, "Rage."
Yeah.
Look,
There's gonna be a lot of
you know what they should do? you know what they should do? Someone should pitch, a studio a Dead Space movie and hire me as the director. I guarantee
I'd
you, people will sit there and go, "That movie is so good," and I shit my pants because I was so scared.
Look, as long as there's not a giant drill kit, I'm happy.
I think Kit, you gotta focus on producing this game first so that you can start showing you got chops, man.
I need to. No,
Oh, you know,
listen.
that damn concept you wanted to do forever ago that never happened. You should, write the damn GDD so you can direct it.
Yeah, kit.
Listen, you don't want to know how many ideas I have going through this head constantly. I'm still looking for the
Fucking write 'em.
manifest.
I have no idea what's going on. I'm just saying, yeah, kit, because I wanted to be a part of this.
No, I was gonna say, I'm still looking for the manifest I wrote because I would like to get it edited and split into the 3 books that's supposed to be.
I'm still waiting for that D&D campaign.
Yeah, for the blood magic
Mhm.
world, which is just so
I'm also still waiting for
Provo.
that people game that we were doing with Hero and Los.
Yeah, what Provo understands. I wrote a story that was, hey, let's take Harry Potter, but make it more adult and a lot bloodier, and put some religion into it by the fact that the entire thing is 100 years before the book starts. Humanity found what tethered the earth to heaven and learned how to use magic, and 6 wizards specifically figured out how to break that chain. When they did, they plunged the earth into hell legitimately. Now the only way to cast magic is through blood. Through blood magic. And of course, because the world went to hell, literally, there was wars. And well, people that after the plunge to hell, some people were able to use magic a little more willy-nilly through blood. Well, when you die and you spill blood, the blood is coagulated, but still dormant magic. So if you step on
It's basically step on landmines.
you're literally stepping on landmines, and there's literally a field where a huge battle happened. That there's a lot of dead people and a lot of blood everywhere. So wrong step, you go boom. To the point that if you cut yourself and you were magically attuned, and that
You go boom.
that drop of blood falls on your foot, you don't have a foot anymore. The floor is lava. Yeah, the entire point is it's following an academy that practices it, and the main character's ability is he can cast magic, but he can form a blood weapon, and he forms a blood scythe, which is really cool. But I have the entire thing of like the best friend dying in a really fucked up way. Has someone who knows how to form blood with magic to create arrows, and I have a vampire in there that pretty much has the best line. Like a hero, I love you. You know that. No, I have a vampire that my favorite line from that I've ever written comes from it, and that's the hero's going, him going, "Hey, I want her as tribute for me to give you all this information and to let you live." And they're like, "What? So you can fuck her and turn her into like one of your sex slaves?" And the line is, "Do you fuck a cow before you butcher it and eat it? Why would the fuck would I butcher or fuck my food?" And everyone going, "Oh shit."
Everyone is dead except for this little tot.
He's literally he's like the last vampire alive and has to distill blood because if he doesn't, he might die from drinking it. Everyone's dead besides this little tot. Neat.
I'm sure you'll find it in your heart, which is currently on
a tree. Oh, you're like a puppy. A blown, eviscerated puppy. Police girl.
Hey, police girl. Hey, police girl. Ah, he's dead. I did it. There's blood fucking everywhere.
Oh, aren't you just adorable?
No, that one is a.
Oh, no. Oh, Singer Bridge. Sorry, Provo, if you got lost with the
It's
house.
okay. It's okay. I was just sitting here going along with it. Listen, if I don't have to think, I'm happy.
Hey, that's always a good thing. Hey, Dandy man, you missed. Woo! Singer Bridge. That's. I think that actually can be because we've been going for a little bit. That's a lot better. That's fine. I think that's we can call it there on this. Thank you everyone for joining us on the second episode of UnNerded. Of course, I was joined here by Kayla, Stormwind, and of course Probo, my Packer bro.
Again, he says it again.
I say it again. I forgot. I was thinking of something. We'll figure that out. I'm gonna do that in the next episode. And of course, myself, Kisaragi. We will see you guys all in the next one. I'm hoping, as long as everything isn't too bad, we'll be back here next Thursday for another one. And of course, look for this on the UnNerded channel over on YouTube. I can't think of anything else. We'll have more topics and we'll kind of streamline this more as we go. So yeah. Say goodbye, everyone.
See you guys.
I have one thing to say.
Sir.
I am Steve.
God.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.